Hello, guys, and welcome to the Stardom Cast, your weekly audio source of all things World Wonder Ring Stardom. I'm your host, Rob Goodwin. I am joined, as ever, by Mr. Matthew Turner. Mr. Turner, how are you, good sir?
Rob Goodwin, I am phenomenal. Hope everybody out there listening and or watching is doing fantastic as well. Figured no better way to start the Stardom cast than with a funny story. Rob, would you like me to start off with a funny story?
Always, always.
So first of all, thanks to everybody that tuned into our live review of Marigold's Grand Destiny. Absolute
Absolutely.
hoot of a time. We love doing those live podcasts. Now, as always, Rob Goodwin, whenever me and you are just chatting in general, whether we're recording or not, we always go off kilter. We always go off topic. At least we're consistent.
No.
Somehow, about halfway through the podcast, we started talking about my awful record on Jeopardy. So then you start saying something, we start getting certain comments about people with me with Jeopardy. So we get done hitting record right after the Marigold Standard. I go downstairs, and when you go down my steps, there's that sitting room, and then right next it's the TV
Yeah,
room.
sure.
Guess what just happens to be on TV that my wife is watching?
Is it Grand Destiny? No, of course, it's Jeopardy.
Oh man, that would be awesome if she's watching EO versus Maya. I heard you guys talking about it, and you
Just
sold me.
taking notes.
You sold me. She
who
loved
is
it.
this Megaton?
She's the best. Oh my God. Yes, she's watching Jeopardy. I'm not downstairs more than 5 seconds, and the first question that came up, I got right, Rob Goodwin.
No
I
way.
got right. Now,
No.
you and our listeners might be going, wow, Matt, that's great. What was the question about? Was it about quantum physics? Mm-mm. Was it about world leaders? Mm-mm. Rob Goodwin, the question was, what is the date on the calendar known as Star Wars Day?
Oh, there you go. I bet you
Slam dunk.
jumped on it.
Slam dunk. And so as soon as I said, Amber's like, you just got downstairs. Like, clearly I know you would know that answer. I was like, we talked about me on Jeopardy, like about how I get like maybe one or two right a month on the podcast. She's like, what? I think the one I just did. She's like, wow, how about that? I was like, how about that? But yes, keeping the streak somewhat alive, good sir.
There you go. There you go.
Streak
Did you get any more right?
No, but I think last night I got one or two or three right. Most of them were about TV sitcoms and rock and roll. So, like, yeah, folks, that's my trivia knowledge is obviously wrestling's number one, then like comics, Star Wars, and give me some like heavy metal stuff from the 80s and 90s. And every now and again, a food question I'll get right. But yeah, other than that, not. I'm Italian. I work in an Italian restaurant. I know basil and Parmesan. Come on now.
I like how you say I work in an Italian restaurant. It's a pizzeria.
No, and it's an Italian restaurant. It's
Is
most
it actually?
Oh, yeah, it's both. Yeah,
In
yeah,
which
yeah.
case, I apologize. I was under the impression it was only in which. I mean, let's not. I'm not. I'm not tooting Matt's trumpet or anything here. Steady. But the pizza there is absolutely sensational. Like, I don't know what it's called, where it's all square, but
Ford style.
insane.
Yeah, it's almost like a
Oh,
Sicilian. But anywho, Rob, enough about me. I know you went back to what you call football practice yesterday.
I
We call
did.
it in the States soccer. You're all smiles. I see two shoulders. I did see that you had both your hands.
I
Now,
did.
unless
Yeah.
it's AI, how did it go? Because it's been about what 4 or 5 months since you been back on the football pitch.
Yes, I slipped a disc in my back, if you remember. This is just going to turn into the long list of injuries of Rob. And sort of everyone going, Rob, you're too old for this, and me defiantly going, no, I'm not, even though I know I am. Yeah, so I slipped a disc in my back by bending over and trying to lift the toilet seat up. And again, toilet seats are heavy, man. Like, Matt, you might lift, however many thousands of pounds, but toilet seats in Britain are bloody difficult to lift, all right? So yeah, I did that. So I was out of action for a good 3 months, I think. Like, really, it wasn't a terrible slip disc, so it hadn't like herniated or anything. So I was like, oh, feel better. I can move. Let's go back, do a preseason game. So 20 minutes, I believe, into my first match back. I've jumped for a ball. Someone's pushed me in the back, and I've landed funny on my left knee, tore me meniscus, and it felt like my knee was on fire. So I was like, oh, this is just this. Genuinely, Kirsty has said to me, and I think I've said this before on the podcast, that if I get severely injured again, she's going to change the locks on the doors, which is brilliant. Which is, yeah, I think she's just sick of coming in and finding me in different predicaments, to be perfectly honest. But that was in June. I was told that I couldn't play competitively until after Christmas. So I've gone back to training just to sort of do some strengthening. Knee was fine. Like you say, nothing's fallen off, nothing's burst into flames. So yeah, we'll see. Take it nice and steady. I said to you, the chances are if I play competitively, I'd end up like with just a foot hanging off or something before we go to Japan. And you'll have to carry me around like Hanako carries Rian around.
Like
Or
Monty
like
Python. Shut up,
yeah,
not shown.
like Luchasaurus and Jungle Jack Perry. You'd just be lifting me and I'd just be on your shoulders like that.
What a sight. Stardom cast guys, we're the Stardom
Absolutely.
cast guys.
But yeah, it was it went well. Nothing too strenuous. So yeah, and it was nice to be back doing something because I've been getting a bit stir crazy with it. But yeah, it's gone well, so I can't complain. But just sort of piggybacking on what you were saying, and I can't remember if I've discussed this with you, but it's just been on downstairs, and I need to talk to someone about this. So you have you got married at first sight over there in the US?
We have, yeah, I've heard of it. Obviously,
Right.
outside of wrestling, Star Wars, and I don't have time for anything, Rob. Remember you yelled at me last week about Jurassic Park, and about a dozen people messaged me,
Rightly so.
being like, "You need to watch Jurassic Park." I'm like, "All right, we'll figure that out in Japan because we might have some downtime there." But anywho, continue, good sir. Yes, I have heard of said show.
I'd forgotten that you hadn't watched Jurassic Park, and I've immediately
You got mad.
I could feel myself getting irrationally angry again.
I felt
building.
I felt that if we were at the barber shop, you would be Shawn Michaels and I would be Marty Jannetty.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And then I'd have picked you up and put you back through it again. But yeah, so for those unaware, Married at First Sight is a TV. Kirsty will listen to this or watch this and find this really funny that I'm bringing this onto a wrestling podcast. But she says that she really enjoys watching it with me because I get really irate about it and I make stupid comments about it. The premise of the program is very, very obvious. Married at First Sight, basically two hateful people marry complete strangers and then wonder why their marriage isn't working. And genuinely, it is the most, how do I put this? Captivatingly crap TV programming I've ever seen in my life. And like just watching these two, and basically it's got to a point now where me and Kirsty will count how many times they use the word vulnerable because they just want to be vulnerable, Matt. They just want to be vulnerable. And they've also, because I assume the producers were like, you're saying walls too often. Oh, I've just got my walls up. Just got my walls up. Just got my walls up. I am now counting how many different synonyms we have for walls because now I've just got my guard up. I've just got my walls up. I've just got my fences up. I've just got my shields up. Thought you'd appreciate that one. I've just got what was the other one? There was
hands up or fist up, maybe like that?
Just my defense is up. That was the other one. There was defenses, and I'm just watching it going. Oh, that was the other thing. There was a woman who, obviously, you get married at the start. You turn around, you see this person. Oh my god, I'm actually marrying this person. And there's quite a few who are like, my parents didn't come to my wedding, and I'm like, I wonder why. I wonder why your parents haven't come to your sham TV wedding. But it's just with you thinking, like, I know that you take the time to watch Jeopardy with Amber, and it's nice to have that thing. I think the equivalent is me and Kirsty watching Married at First Sight, and yeah, it's not the same. It's not the same on an intellectual level. I would love to know the sort of Venn diagram of Stardom cast listeners that watch Married at First Sight as well. If you get a chance, Matt, just watch one episode. Just watch one episode. Genuinely, it's worse than Hot Frosty.
Oh, I honestly, we haven't mentioned Hot Frosty since Vegas, since I surprised you.
Vegas.
Yes.
Oh,
when you said it was just on downstairs, I'm like, oh my god, he's gonna say it. Oh my god, he's gonna say it. Eventually, you did say it. It is kind of funny, like how you get irate over that, and she pops over it. When my wife watches Wheel of Fortune and somebody has guessed like a C, like C, no, no, we don't have a C, and then like 2 spins later, another person guesses a C. I am the words that come out of my sweet wife's mouth are so funny. I'm like, oh my god, please guess something that they've already said before. Haven't you been paying attention?
You just want to watch it burn, don't you? That's the thing.
And I'm just saying this because she's my wife. My wife is very, very smart. I always think she's a sweetheart, unselfish, great cook, just terrible taste in men. No, and I benefited on that immensely. But it's so like everybody always tells like you should go on Wheel of Fortune, you should go on Wheel of Fortune. I'm like, no, she shouldn't. She would be the first person thrown off because like she taunts these people. It's pretty funny. She turns like heel. She turns like Momo Watanabe, like just taunting people. Like just I'm like, why would you guess that? Like, how dumb are you? How do you not know that's that puzzle? Like, oh my god, she gets really, really into it. So that must be like you when you're watching Love at First Sight. So
Married at first sight. No, love at first sight, Matt. Love at first sight, fine, okay. But actual marriage, marriage at first sight, yeah.
Gorilla Monsoon reference. Oh, excuse me.
Exactly. Big difference between the two. It is utter car crash TV, and genuinely, I'm a little bit ashamed that I find it oddly entertaining to watch. But that aside, and just sweeping under the rug, because I think if we get into the whole I've never seen Jurassic Park thing, again, we'll end up with another 5-hour podcast because I'll just go off on one again. But yes, Japan, that might be. Do you know what? There's a lot of downtime on the flight. Treat yourself. Jurassic Park.
I think I have 12, 14 hour. I forget what it is. Amber's got everything locked down, yeah, I think 12, 14-hour flight. I think which I started at the first one, right? Like the very first one.
I think I speak for everyone when I say you probably only need to watch the first two.
Oh, okay.
And the second one, the first one, absolutely, it's actually a war crime that you haven't seen the first one. And I don't know how long this podcast can continue without you having seen Jurassic Park.
I'm gonna totally just smash it out of the window. You're wearing a Ring of Honor hoodie. How many times have you watched the Joe vs. Punk trilogy in Ring of Honor?
Twice.
Oh, yeah. Okay, never mind. All right. Anyway, damn it.
Well, no, that's a lie. Actually, I've seen the trilogy once. I've seen the second match twice.
Okay, and now you saw the third one, which I'm in that match.
You are in that match.
Ricky Steamboat, and I'm like, yeah, something here doesn't belong.
Is it your goatee?
Yes. No, I'm just saying. I was like, I'm in the ring with CM Punk, Samoa Joe. Jay Lethal was Samoa Joe's second, and Ricky Steamboat was the special guest timekeeper. So at the end of the match, when Punk gets choked out, if you go back and watch, and I was like, Samoa Joe, CM Punk, Jay Lethal, Ricky Steamboat, Matt Turner. I'm like, yeah, one of these things is not like the other.
Don't you do yourself a disservice?
No, I'm the only one in there. I'm the only one in the ring that's never seen Jurassic Park.
Maybe we should do that on Patreon. Maybe we should watch it together as like a whole watch along and get the whole Patreon crew involed.
Yeah, we wouldn't have to be able to put up the video because we get sued for that.
Oh yeah, 100%. Matt Turner, speaking of our lovely Patreon listeners, why don't you give us a little bit of an insight into what is coming up on the Patreon this week?
Rob, not only going to give you and our fantastic listeners of the Stardom Cast extra what we have coming on this week, I'm also going to tell you what is in store for the month of November and what our Christmas theme is going to be, because that's right around the corner. We were literally about 4 weeks away from December. Not only that, I'm going to tell you, and again, our fantastic listeners of not only the Stardom Cast, but Talk Joshi, what me and Andy Header are doing for some bonus material for 2026. So yes, we are booking in advance, Rob Goodwin, but let's not get ahead of ourselves just yet. So alternate commentary released this week, an absolute hidden gem of a tag team match. I go back to January of last year. It's Aphrodite, Utami Hayashis, and Saya Kamatani take on the last minute makeshift team of Mei, Sarah, and Azumi, obviously before Neo Genesis. Absolutely fantastic match that is up on your alternate commentary. And then dropping this weekend, the return of Is It Still 5 Stars? I go back and watch one of the greatest matches in professional wrestling history, not Joshi history, not Stardom history, pro wrestling history. We go to Dream Queendom 2022 as Julia challenges Shiri for the World of Stardom Championship. I just filmed that with Andy Header yesterday. Really, really fun episode going back and watching that one. So that'll take us into the month of November. Now, Rob, I was looking for some alternate commentary to do. I was like, Goddess of Stardom Tag season is right around the corner. I want to watch a match from the Goddess of Stardom Tag League 2021. So I'm going through certain shows, and I find two wild matches, and I still don't know what I'm going to do. I see this match. It's Utami and Azumi versus FWC. Now, it's not a Goddess of Stardom Tag League match because Utami in that tag league, as you remember, you wrote a book, teams with
Okay.
Saya Kamatani and Azumi teams with Momo Watanabe. So I was like,
Mhm.
ooh, I want to do this match. That's the match I'm going to do. Rob, I'm scrolling through the rest of the matches on this show. Now, this is a random house show, like at the end of October. There's a singles match between Shuri and Saya Kamatani. I was like, this is like 5 weeks before they both win their respective championships, and I was like, I know they had that match, I think it was night 1 or night 2 of the 5-star Grand Prix earlier that year, but I'm like,
Yeah.
so on this random house show, we have Azumi and Utami versus FWC and Shuri versus Sai Kamatani. I don't know which match I'm gonna do for next week, folks. Let me know which one. If there's one you want me to do, I shall do. So again, that's what's on the Patreon this week, what's coming up on the weekend, and then one of those 2 matches will be on the feed next week. Now, Rob, go in the month of November. Here's what we have on tap. I've been teasing it. It's going to happen. I'm going to drop it in the month of November. Saori Anou's complete run as the Wonder of Stardom champion. Everything up from the Mirai time limit draw to when she drops it to Natsupoi. So the 2 little runs there, they will all be there. I'll do a complete review. That'll be on the feed. Obviously, you'll have matches with Matt. You'll have a tag team breakdown, all the alternate commentaries, a roundtable discussion. Rob Go, myself, and Andy Header, we're going to be talking about our top 10 favorite Stardom finishing moves of all time. So since the beginning of
Ooh.
Stardom until current day, and obviously there's no rules on this. So if you want, hey, if you like, I like Natsupoi's Furial Gift, that's number 10. I also like Natsupoi's Furial Blink. I can put that at number 4. So you can have more than one
Okay.
wrestler because the Stardom wrestlers do have more than one finisher. Our what if, Rob Goodwin, our what if is going to be, what if Sai Kamatani did defeat Tam Nakano to win the World of Stardom Championship at Dream Queendom last year? However, what if she did it as the Golden Phoenix? What if she did it as babyface Sai Kamatani, which we always thought that would eventually happen. We didn't see the heel term coming. So we were going to book how we get there and what happens after Sai Kamatani wins the World of Stardom champion as the leader of Queen's Quest and as the Golden Phoenix. So that'll be our what if fantasy booking. Rob, that'll take us to the month of December. And for our longtime listeners, you guys always know we do a fancy theme for Christmas. Last year we had a Merry Sherry Christmas. We've done a Merry Mayu Christmas. Folks, this year we're going to have a Mac, an M-A-C. You might be saying a Big Mac? No better. Macaroni and cheese? No better. A Shano Mac? Almost as good. M, I knew I'd pop you. I knew I'd pop you. Bam, 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 bam. M-A-C, folks.
Best in the world, bro.
Absolutely. The best in the world. Shano Mac. A Merry Azumi Christmas. Our spotlight for the month of December will be the high-speed bomb girl. I think I'm starting to call her an AI wrestler because I don't know if she's real. One Azumi. So that is going to be our spotlight for the month of December. We're going to have a Merry Azumi Christmas. Now, Rob Goodwin, for our fantastic listeners over at Talk Joshi, Talk Joshi will continue to be a weekly episode. And thanks everybody so much for all of the great help and all the great words of encouragement, how much everybody's loving what we're doing over on Talk Joshi. But starting in January, and we're going to be doing this once a month, every month for 2026, myself and Andy will be dropping a bonus episode where we're going to be highlighting a non-Stardom tag team. So like 1 month we'll be talking about Red Energy. 1 month we'll be talking about Team 200 kg. 1 month we'll be talking about Bob Moma Banana. Start this off in the month of January. No better team to talk about than maybe the greatest name in the history of tag teams, Yuka Sakazaki and Mizuki, better known as the Magical Sugar Rabbits. So
It's the
that's how you
greatest tag team name. It's such a good name. I was so hoping you were going to say that.
There it is. So again, folks, we have so much great stuff on the Stardom Cast Extra, obviously the Marigold Standard, and we are trucking along over on Talk Joshi. So thank you everybody so much for your support on every single aspect that we're doing over here.
Yeah, absolutely. Patreon.com/the Stardom Cast for a boatload of bonus content, as well as all of our show reviews, previews, and all of our archived episodes as well. Don't forget to check all of that out. I will just say that I am expecting Andy's top 10 finishing moves to just be Azumi. I am expecting like the Azumi Sushi to be 1, Numero Uno to be number 2, the Diving Double Foot Stompers 3, just
Canadian
all the way,
Destroyer.
yeah, all the way down to it just being Buzzsaw Kick at number 10. That's genuinely what I'm hoping. And if it's not that, I'm going to be sorely disappointed.
I will say this. I think his 1 or 2 is probably gonna be the tequila shot because every time he works an indie show, he's like, I'm gonna do the tequila shot. I'm the tequila shot. And the person that he's working doesn't feel comfortable taking it because you're trying to explain it. And it's a really wild bump like to take. So I wouldn't be shocked if it's like The diving, yeah, right. The Izumi Sushi, the diving double foot stop, the Izumi Sushi into the numero uno armbar that Izumi pinned Bozilla with, the underhook destroyer, the regular destroyer. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's gonna
there's
be.
enough there to pad out a top 10, easy.
I think he's got it. I think he's got
I mean,
it.
to be fair, hasn't someone in NXT started using the tequila sunrise? Not tequila sunrise, the tequila shot.
Maybe I don't ever
I'm
since
sure someone has.
I don't watch that much NXT.
No,
As
I
much as I
don't.
want to, as much as I want to support Mariah May, Blake Monroe. Ever since Julia left, it's just my NXT. I do watch a little bit of her stuff, which I'm enjoying. It's just there's only so many hours in the day, and I
There
need
are.
more time. And again, Rob, I just mentioned, I need more time to contribute and to focus on the magical sugar rabbits, Rob. So
I genuinely thought you were going to. I need to spend more time revising to get better at Jeopardy.
no, God,
Yeah,
it's a waste of time.
lost cause.
No.
Oh, let's delve into some news then. We're going to start off actually with a bit of news and an apology as well, because we had a little bit of a laugh at Taro Okada's expense on the last episode of the
Not
Stardom
us. Not us, buddy.
because he turned up at the Mexico City CMLL show whilst FWC were in Guadalajara, and we assumed that he'd just gone to the wrong show. Of course, that wasn't the case. He was in the final stages of confirming a Stardom and CMLL official partnership. This was announced on Thursday, the 23rd of October, because, of course, it will be announced just after we finish recording. Basically, Stardom and CMLL have partnered up and will be exchanging talent in the hopes that it will aid development. Now, of course, at the moment, Hazuki and Koguma are out in Mexico having an absolute blast by their look of their respective social medias. And that's sort of the first step in terms of the talent exchange. But if you remember, we've also had quite a few CMLL talents over in Stardom over the last 18 months. We obviously had Dark Silhouette most recently before unfortunate injury at Korakuen. We've also had Huvia and Tabata as well over in Stardom. So hopefully, and obviously, Matt, I know that with Hazuki and Koguma out in CMLL, me and you have watched a little bit more of CMLL. To say that we are well versed in CMLL is the biggest overstatement in the world. We are not at all. We have seen a handful of matches and a handful of performers, but this has got to be a good thing. And this is all, a different style, highlighting lucha libre in Japan, and also, giving the chance to, different members of the Stardom roster to go over to Mexico, work a different style, work in front of a different audience, pick up certain things. And the same for CMLL talent as well.
Yeah, this is a great partnership. CMLL is a massive, massive company. I think they 92 years that they've been running. I think they're the oldest running
They are.
professional wrestling company. They're running. We didn't realize until that interview we did a few weeks ago with Leona, Alejandra Quintana, that Arena Mexico is just used for wrestling. Like we thought, like might be from other stuff. Not
Yeah, yeah.
used primary for wrestling. CMLL is running there, I think, like a couple times a week. And they're doing anywhere between 8 to 12,000 people, which we have seen Hazuki and Kagama wrestle in front of that many people, which Stardom, the biggest house they ever did, was earlier this year at All-Star Grand Queendom, 7,500 people. So Hazuki and Kagama are wrestling in front of more people wrestling in Arena Mexico. And the Grand Prix, that 9 versus 9, I did watch that. That was fantastic. Obviously, I'm more familiar with the wrestlers at Team World, with the Julia Harts, obviously the Teklas, Hazuki Kagama, Shoko Nakajima, which to me, she was the MVP of that whole entire
Shoko was
tournament.
great.
She
Shoko was
was
great.
so good. Andy Hedder's new favorite wrestler. Mina Shirakawa obviously was terrific, but I was really impressed with a lot of the wrestlers over in CMLL. Obviously, Persephone Olympia, who I think is going to be on Collision, wrestling Mercedes Monet.
Olympia was the one that stood out to me as well. And we're going to talk a little bit about the CMLL Grand Prix d'Amazonas shortly. But yeah, definitely those.
Yeah, it was a really, really great show, and I did watch a lot. So some of CMLL stuff is on YouTube, so I did watch a lot of the Hazuki and Kagama stuff over there. When they did the Day of the Dead, the half face paint, and they're wildly over. So this is another stroke of genius from Bushiroad and Stardom to get their wrestlers over there. Because guess what? There was a lot of new eyes on FWC, and guess what? Now they're going to follow them over here, over to
Absolutely.
Stardom. And obviously we're going to get into it because on Monday, Hazuki has a really, really big matchup coming. And then that is going to roll right into the Goddess of Stardom Tag League, which I'm guessing FWC will be a part of that together as a team. So they have a really good shot at winning this tournament, being the first team to win the tournament twice, because now we have a new look on FWC because of all the eyes over in Mexico on FWC. So again, I think this is great. We're seeing more wrestling companies work with more wrestling companies, but ultimately, not only does a CMLL win and a Stardom win, the ultimate winners of this are Rob us, the fans, because we get to see some really, really great stuff. So I think this was terrific. And yes, I guess we owe a public apology to Terry Okada as we kind of you went to the wrong show. It's like, no, idiots, I was doing business. I was doing business.
Yeah, you answered my next question, which was, to be honest, who have you sort of highlighted as someone you'd love to see in Stardom? Because again, from the minimal amount of CMLL that I've consumed, Olympia is probably the one that stood out to me. Obviously, Persephone is massively over, is going to be a huge star. Obviously, was the CMLL representative at Forbidden Door, and that was another thing as well. CMLL have got partnerships with AEW and with New Japan, but the women's division in AEW is absolutely rammed. And with only a certain amount of TV time for AEW, the lack of house shows for AEW as well, because that's not their model. There's not a great deal of opportunity for the female wrestlers in CMLL. So this partnership with Stardom is a no-brainer, really, from CMLL. So it's a great it's going to be something that's really exciting to watch in the future, because again, the stuff we watched with Tabata, who was, sort of in and around the future of Stardom sort of scene, I think it did a world of good for her. And I think Hoovia looked good. Dark Silhouette, unfortunately, obviously the injury happened and there's not a lot you can do about that. And obviously we wish her nothing but the best. I haven't heard anything else about that injury, but I'm hoping she is doing well. If you know how she's doing, please let me know. But I think, yeah, someone like an Olympia going over. Imagine a team of Olympia and Bozilla in the tag league. Oh my God, it'd be incredible.
We are an odd person out for Me La Vida Loca, Rob. So we've been saying that for a while. So yeah, oh, wowzers. I was gonna go another way, but I guess we'll get into that when we get into it. My fantasy booking for that is wild. But anywho.
Intriguing. You've already touched on this next bit of news, but the fourth match has been announced for Crimson Nightmare 2025, November the 3rd. We are just a couple of days away from the pay-per-view at Ota Ward City Gymnasium, and we have now a high-speed championship rematch. Meisera versus Hazuki. We're obviously going to talk about Meisera versus Waka Tsukiyama a little bit later on today, but following that, May called out Hazuki and said that she wanted to square off with her one more time. Obviously, the last time these two met in singles action was for the high-speed title at Supreme Fight 2024 in a 15-minute time limit draw, which was a phenomenal match. Really, really, really good match that I actually need to go back and watch, because I think I've only watched it twice. And it was a while ago when I watched it the last time. In fact, it might have been for a alternate commentary, so I need to check that out. But yes, a rematch of this is very, very exciting. I'm really intrigued to see where it goes, because again, Yuna Mizumori seems to be the sort of next logical challenger, or the next logical person to dethrone Meisera anyway. But also, I'd be very intrigued. I'd be very interested to see if they do have her pin Hazuki clean. But saying that, what are they doing with Hazuki at the moment? So, there is that.
But there's a lot they can do with it, because does Hazuki come out of this as the high speed
There's a
champion?
lot they can do with her. There's nothing they are doing with her, though.
Well, again, she just wrestled in Arena Mexico twice over the past few
True.
weeks. So again, no other wrestler in Stardom is wrestling in front of that many people that in that consecutive amount of time, and crazy over. Again, we talked about it last week, how after Hazuki got the win on that CMLL show 2 weeks ago, people are high-fiving and hugging in the crowd. I'm like, all right, Hazuki getting over down in Mexico. Great. Obviously, I'm really intrigued with this match. This match is going to be fantastic. I think they repeat the finish. By the finish, I think this is going to be the same result as they did at Supreme Fight.
TLD.
TLD. Yeah, which by the
I
way,
do.
great show with Mike and Kamatani on top. And then I just
Mhm.
watched it for the Patreon episode with Saori Anou versus Starlight Kid in this match as well. It was a great start to finish show, Supreme Fight, almost 2 years ago. I think that's the way they go about it, but it's just like, yeah, what are we doing with Yuna? We've been kind of been teasing that for the past year plus. And it's like they went to that time limit draw when they did the 2 out of 3 falls, 10 minute. And then Yuna said, I want back to your regular 15 minutes. Then I was a little confused why, and we're going to get into it later. I was a little confused when I was watching the May Sarah versus Waka match because I thought it was
I
two
know
out of
what you
three
mean.
falls. It was only
Mhm.
one fall. And I was like, oh, do we know they were going back to those rules? Like, I don't remember them clearly stating it. Maybe it's something I missed, folks. I've had a wild few weeks. So I was like, did I miss something? Is this match the 2 out of 3 falls 10 minutes, or is this the old 15-minute time limit? I don't know if that was announced. Regardless, Rob, I'm so excited for this match. Again, you have two of the best and most explosive wrestlers in the world today. Maya Sarah is on an absolute tear, especially coming off that fantastic performance in the 5-star Grand Prix. And Hazuki is now worldwide Hazuki. I mean, you're throwing this on the same show that we're getting Starlight Kid versus Konami and Momo Watanabe versus Sai Kamatani. And most importantly, the real main event, Rob Goodwin, Bozilla and Saki Kashima. So I do want to make mention, just like a day or two ago, Stardom put on all their social medias that they've had to open up more seats because a lot of seats are selling. Like they've opened up more seats. I think they're fully opening up. Is this Oda Ward?
This is Ota Ward.
Yeah, I think they're fully opening it up. So I think it's like 4,500, I think is max capacity. So they said they pretty much opened up the entire building. So it'd be interesting to see how this sells, considering they've only announced 4 matches. And again, we're only a few days away. But regardless, just those 4 matches alone, I'm super excited for. I'm super excited for this match. But Rob, that I can see this match going one of 3 ways. I'm gonna say the TLD. I wouldn't be shocked if May Sarah gets a win here because that would be a really big statement win. But again, Hazuki has new light on her. She's gonna be bringing over a lot of fans from CMLL and Mexico that watch her absolutely crush it. I won't be shocked if they strike while the iron's hot and she wins the high speed championship. But if I'm booking and Hazuki's white hot, see where I'm going there, Rob? I eventually
Love
build
it.
her up for the Wonder of Stardom Championship. Or it wasn't just Hazuki that got over, it's Kagama as well. So maybe we see the fourth reign of FWC. There's a lot they can do with Hazuki. I'm staying patient as I've always been with the booking with Hazuki over the last 3 years. And I'm staying positive. I think big things will happen for the wrestling machine, the favorite wrestler of us on the Stardom Cast, one Hazuki.
Yeah, it's interesting with Crimson Nightmare. They've obviously sold a hell of a lot of tickets, but we are still we are 4 days at the time of recording away from the pay-per-view, and we don't have a full card. I mean, we've got one show which is on Saturday at Chiba. We haven't got the card for that show. Like, it's all very last minute. I'm wondering if Taro Okada is just exhausted because the man doesn't seem to sleep. But
And
yeah,
we're a week away of the start of the Goddess of Stardom Tag League, and not
we
one
have no
official team. Obviously, we'll get into this one team, a tease team, which I was like, yes, absolutely. But like, we don't know what any of these teams are going to be. We've seen these teams getting shaked up quite a bit over the past few years. I'm like, can we like just start announcing some teams? Can we just do a press conference? Obviously, again, folks, if we're doing a press conference, let Rob know
please
specifically
do.
him that it's
Mhm.
going for a good thing. It's not that the whole roster is leaving, but it's like, yeah, there's a lot of last minute things coming up. I'm constantly on my phone more than usual. So like, something's got to be announced. We got to be getting a full card. What's with the Chiba show? Is what's going on with this show with the Goddesses Stardom Tag League? Because I love tag team wrestling and nobody does tag team wrestling better than Stardom. Like, what are we doing? I'm excited. Just tell me. Ah.
Okay, calm down. Yeah, I don't like it. And I don't know whether it's just as part of me that's like, well, I want to build towards these matches. That's the whole point of the house shows,
Sure.
And yes, we've built a little bit. I would argue that of the 4 matches, Starlight Kid and Konami is the only one we've actually had any build whatsoever for, to the point where it's even referenced by Momo and Saya at Korakuen. Like, yo, Taro, we've got a main event in like a week, and we haven't faced off against each other. You gonna do something about that, or or are we just getting into this like pal mal? What we doing, youth? And
They're beating each other up while they're on each other's team. Like
yeah, exactly.
Saya did a dive onto Momo and Cork, and I'm like, all right, like hey, they won't book. And I think that's part of the storyline. Like
So do
obviously,
I.
I think it's part of the storyline, but I like it how Kamatani's like, we're just gonna take it upon ourselves. Like, hey, we're in a match together. We're on the same team, but let's build this baby up a little bit. So it's gonna be really interesting. So yeah, there's one preliminary match that they're doing 2 days prior. So, but at the same time, they're selling a ton of tickets. So
Well, this is what I want to talk to you about. And remind me, I want to talk to you about this during our, preview, because this will be the last show we do before Crimson Nightmare. And obviously, it's only going to be the 4 matches. But, there's something I want to talk, and something I'll sort of put into the ether now before we get into it, partly because I'll forget, because you know what I'm like. Stardom have got to be very careful because at the moment, Stardom are the hottest they've ever been.
ever.
And obviously, you could announce that Saki Kashima is going to be playing the piano in the middle of the ring and you'd still sell 1,000, 2,000 tickets to Ota Ward.
Saki Kashima or Sai Kamatani or both.
Or both. Yeah. It doesn't matter.
Dueling pianos like Elton John and Axl Rose.
Now, the issue is, if that balloon pops, you can't book in this way for pay-per-views because the seats are not going to sell. And I think that's something you've got to prepare for now. And I think this is something that since Taro Okada has taken over in Stardom, a lot of the card announcements have been rather last minute. And that needs to be something that is, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, and ultimately, I have no sway at all. And, my opinion is like, a very small sprig of celery in a vindaloo, really. But ultimately, you have got to give people something to chew on. You've got to give people something to go, right, I want to go and see this, 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 and this. And ultimately, more than that, you've got to make the house shows worthy to go and see. Why am I going to go and see this house show? Well, I'm going to see my favorite wrestlers, but that's it. And ultimately, if you've seen them once and there's no build the second time they come around, you're not going to go again. So you do need to start building these matches a little bit on the house show circuit as well and integrate that. And I know that obviously, wrestling's a living, breathing organism. You've got things like injuries and stuff that you can never truly prepare for. I completely get that. But on the flip side, there has got to be some sort of contingency. Like, they will know the Crimson Nightmare card. Like, they will know. So why has it not been announced a week away? And now I assume that the Goddess of Stardom Tag League teams are going to be announced at the pay-per-view. Because the show starts on the 7th of November, 4 days after the pay-per-view. So, again, that's my one real negative, really. Because the show looks great. Crimson Nightmare looks great. Can't wait for Saya and Momo. Can't wait for Konami and Starlight Kid, because again, they're going to up the brutality from their Cinderella tournament final match. Mace Aaron Hazuki or Mace Aaron Hazuki, they don't need a build. I'm fine with that. Okay, Hazuki is in Mexico. I sort of give them the pass on that, to be fair. And Bozilla and Saki is going to be really entertaining, especially with the little bits that we've seen over the last couple of shows. But if that balloon does pop, and I don't want it to, and you're not just going to sell 3,000, 4,000 tickets to Ryogoku without really trying. Okay, you have got to start getting into a pattern of announcing a card in good time to start building towards those shows, and that might just be a thing for me. But we'll talk about that a little bit more when we talk about the show at the end of the podcast.
No, valid gripe. I mean, we've been seeing what Marigold they've been 4 or 5 weeks building, with Miko Ano and Utami, obviously with Masaka Ryan, Victoria Yuzuki. Vasio Gawa's always had like, let's build wrestling 101. We're starting, a lot of times they do it, but it just really seems like, again, we got the Goddess tournament starting in a week. We don't have one team. We got this pay-per-view in 3 days of us recording. We got 4 matches announced. Like, why don't we just start sprinkling some things, like start some announcement, like either do a press conference or do like something on YouTube where it's like, okay, if we don't have everybody here for a press conference, let's just put the graphics up, put it up on YouTube, get some views there, get some hype, get some momentum, because all of the tickets are on sale for the Goddess of Stardom Tag League. And I didn't get a chance to check. I'm sure they're selling well because it's Stardom, but at the same time, people might be like, I'm apprehensive to buy because I don't know if Azumi's going to be teaming with Miyu or if she's going to be teaming with Starlight Kid. Like, what's going on with Bozilla? Who's May Sarah teaming with? So it's like, that could be a factor. But at the same time, they're doing really well ticket sales. But partner, I totally agree with you that with the exception of Saya and Momo, because like that got announced, about a month or so ago, right after Saya and Azumi, I believe. Yeah, it was right after.
It literally got announced a month ago.
Yeah, like that got announced, and then we had Konami and Starlight Kid wasn't too far after that. And then it was like, okay, here we go. Then it was like crickets, and then we got Saki and Bozilla, and then May Sarah. Again, you're right. Hazuki's in Mexico, so you can't really do too much there. And May Sarah's just like after a promo, great match with Waka. Again, we're gonna get into it. Like I want to challenge Hazuki, which she did tease a few times before.
She
But
has teased, yeah.
but my guess is the rest of this card is going to be just like filler tags and maybe even preview tags for Goddess of Stardom Tag League. Maybe it's going to be Shuri and Tomoka Inaba because they're on a team, teaming with Kyoto Katatsu and Rana because they're a team, taking on Hanan and Wingor and Saida because they're going to be a team, and the team of Uriah Hime and Momo Kogo because they're going to be a team. Maybe the rest of this card, when it gets announced, it's just going to be a whole bunch of 8-person tag where it's where it's going to be all teams that are in Goddess of Stardom tag leagues, and you put the tag on it, Goddess of Stardom tag league preview. Maybe that's what they're going to do to hype it up. I don't know. Regardless, buddy, Stardom, my opinion, the best wrestling company in the world. Yes, I am biased, but I'm going to enjoy it one way or another. But I totally go just to kind of go full circle this. I totally agree. I think any wrestling company, not just Stardom, any wrestling company, when you're building to your pay-per-views and you're selling tickets and additional buys and stuff, start announcing things in advance so you have time to hype things up.
Yeah, and it will be interesting to see. Obviously, the next big show after this one is Dream Queendom, Maria Goku, and it's going to be really interesting to see how long before the pay per view we get the full card for Dream Queendom. Because it wouldn't surprise me if we know at least the red belt match following the main event of Crimson Nightmare. But again, we will see. We will see. Moving on, then, something we do know is the most of the card for Sadism Chapter 9, which will be coming from Shinjuku Face, as is ordinary, on November the 14th, Tuesday the 28th of October, so the official press conference where 4 of the 5 matches were announced. Sadi, again, picking up an absolute banger for the main event, this time teaming with Suzu Suzuki against the team of Natsupoi and Chihiro Hashimoto. So just for that on its own is going to be a sensational match. But then Bozilla and Kyoto Ito versus Veni and Nightshade. That's going to be very exciting. Bozilla and Veni, yes, please. Miku Kanai and Chi-Chi, they will be taking on Ron Yagami and Akira Kuragane. That's going to be really, really good as well. All of that God's Eye versus, to give the team a name, Saoriism stuff on the Stardom shows has always been really, really entertaining. And we saw another little escalation of Saoriism versus Stardom on this Korakuen Hall show that we're going to talk about soon. And then Yurika Oka, one half of Bob Momo Banana, taking on Salim Masora, who is the rookie from Seedling. So again, 4 really interesting matches, 3 really matches that I am very excited for. But Matt, this main event, once again, Sari really spoiling us on these Sariism shows.
Yeah, this is kind of a weird tag team combination, but we've seen it before work. Like when they did Sari and Mayu as a team versus Veni and Chihiro Hashimoto. I'm like, that was great. And then we had Sari and Natsupoi versus Azumi and Takumi Roha. I'm like, where did she draw those names up? And it was absolutely fantastic. This
Yep.
and myself and Andy we talked about on this week's episode of Talk Joshi, where it's like, how did we come to these teams? And to me, it was really simple. Chihiro Hashimoto has dropped Natsupoi on her neck so many times over the last 2 years. Like, you want a team on the show? Sure, no problem. Sari and Suzu Suzuki had 2 banger matches this past summer, with one for the IWGP Championship and once in the 5-star Grand Prix. It's like, hey, we almost killed each other twice, somewhat legally in a professional wrestling ring. You want to be on my team? Sure, no problem. Like, that's the storyline that I had in my head. But regardless, we're going to see Sari versus Natsupoi. We're going to see Sari and Chihiro Hashimoto. Obviously, they're having a singles match in about 3 weeks' time at Chihiro Hashimoto's 50th anniversary show. Suzu Suzuki and Chihiro Hashimoto, yes. That is going to be so intriguing to me. So intriguing to me. Now, they did tease, and I think I talked to you about this off air, and again, we'll talk about in Korakuen Hall. They did tease something with Saori and Saori Anou in that fantastic tag match they had on Korakuen Hall. So I thought it was going to lead into this. maybe they're leading into Saori versus Saori Anou on Dream Queendom. Or some people have telling me, what if it's Saori versus Natsupoi on Dream Queendom? I will take either or, good sir. Regardless, Saori always comes up being Booker of the Year. And this is Shinjuku face Rob Goodwin. So you know the rite of passage that's going to happen in this match. Somebody, by somebody, I mean probably Natsupoi, is taking the double stomp as
Yeah.
Saori jumps off the table on the third row there. Probably Natsupoi.
And the issue is Natsupoi is Sari's like legit best friend.
Yeah.
So Sari's putting extra stank on that. Like
Yeah.
she will absolutely go through Natsupoi in the best possible way, and I'm sure they will laugh about it afterwards once Natsupoi has caught her breath again.
In the hospital.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, you got me again.
Oh, that's Saori. Oh, that's Sun
that's
God.
Sari.
That's Sun God. Oh, that little devil.
Why I order. I'm sure the main event is going to be fantastic. I'm really, really excited for Miku Kanai and Chi-Chi against Rana and Akira. And then again, Bozilla just wrecking house against Venny and Nightshade. I think Bozilla and Nightshade, they had a little bit of a square off at the last Pro Wrestling Eve show I went to. And it was only very slight. It was only very brief, but it was something that I was like, oh, I wouldn't mind seeing this again. So that'll be really exciting as well. Is Nightshade in Marvelous at the moment?
She worked a show at Sendai Girls.
She worked a show at Sendai Girls.
She
That was
worked
right.
Ash Chisako, yeah, and it was a very contrasting styles match that they made it work because both of them are really good. So yeah, she's over in Japan, absolutely killing it. One Nightshade, so it's awesome. Again, her and Bozilla, I'm absolutely for that. And then you're throwing Benny in, hell yeah,
absolutely. Moving on then, just want to briefly touch on this because we've already sort of talked about FWC and their escapades in Mexico. They were both a part of the CMLL International Women's Grand Prix match on the 24th of October. Matt, this was a ridiculously entertaining match. I'm not going to lie. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I believe it was a pay-per-view purchased through Triller, wasn't it? It had English commentary, and Vader Scott was doing a lot of the commentary on that, but I had no idea how this match worked. I've never watched this tournament before. Again, I am the absolute noobiest of noobs when it comes to CMLL. So I was watching it and I was like, I don't understand how this works. Is it a battle royal? Is it basically just sort of a Survivor Series sort of deal? Is it a gauntlet? How does this work? So you got Team Mexico. So again, I apologize if I butcher these names because I will, but I am trying. We have got India Sayo. Oh, I know, butchered that one. La Catalina, La Horachita, Juvia, Olympia, Persephone, Reina Isis, Scotty, and Zuxis. That was Team Mexico. They took on Team World: Diamante, Hazuki, Julia Hart, Kanji, Koguma, Mina Shirakawa, Shoko Nakajima, Sky Blue, and Tekla. Now, the idea behind this match is basically it is a straight up elimination tag between Team Mexico and Team World until we get to two people. Now, if those two people are on the same team, they fight, and just happens to be that team will win. But the eventual winner was Persephone for Team Mexico. She last eliminated Tekla in a match that went almost an hour, 56 minutes and 44 seconds. Matt Shoko Nakajima was, without a shadow of a doubt, the MVP of this match. She was around that ring like an absolute tracer bullet, but some really good and exciting contributions from Koguma, who was unfortunately the first person eliminated from this match. I thought Hazuki was really good, but Kanji really impressed me as well. Obviously, Mina Shirakawa incredibly over wherever she goes because she's just got that innate charisma. What were your thoughts on this? What do you think of the concept as well?
I've actually kind of, as much as I don't really watch that much lucha, I'm very familiar with this concept because years and years ago, I used to work for Chikara, who they do a very lucha style professional wrestling, and they always had this thing called the Cibernetico, and they basically said the rules were basically very similar to the Grand Prix from CMLL, where it's a batting order. So I think like Koguma was 1 in the batting order, Shoko was number 2, or Koguma was number 1, Shoko was number 2, and Hazuki was number 3. And I only remember that because I texted her and I said, they put your girl Shoko in the middle of FWC in the batting order. So you can't tag out to the third person, not unless that person's eliminated. So you can
okay.
like baseball. So if you're the first hitter, the second hitter comes up. Obviously, if the second hitter is eliminated, which obviously you don't get pinned in baseball, bear with me. Then the
Oh,
third person
imagine.
comes in. Yeah, I just invented a new sport. Holy jeez. Haven't watched Jurassic Park, folks. Only know Star Wars Jeopardy, but I just created a new sport. So that's basically how it goes. I thought the booking of this was genius because everybody was over as a babyface in this match. Not you figure for Team CMLL, obviously they're going to get the cheers because they're the hometown team. Mina's over as a babyface. Kanji's over as a babyface. Obviously, FWC is over as a babyface. Shoko's over as a babyface. And whoever put this together realized that really quick because the last three people in the ring for Team World were the only heels, the true heels. Julia Hart, Sky Blue, and Tekla. And they were all great. Julia Hart really, really pumped up her game. Sky Blue has always been fantastic. And then since coming back from injury, she's really, really impressed me. Tekla keeping up with the feud, buddy. Trying to go after Tara Okada halfway through the match.
Love that.
I thought
Love
that was
that.
I thought that was great because people like the night before the show, because I was like, I don't know if I'm going to get this. It's a $10 pay-per-view. I want to support. I'm like, hey, I'll buy it. I'll support it. Then I watched it when I came home from the gym on Saturday. But a lot of people the night before was like, Tara Okada is going to be in the front row and Tekla's going to be there. What can go wrong? I'm like, I wonder if they're going to do anything. You would be forgiven because there's so many moving parts, 18 people in this match. If they don't do anything, I don't know if it was planned or not, but Tekla, she took her shot. I was like, I love Tekla. Oh my God. I always thought she was great in Stardom. The stuff she's doing in AEW is really next level. Like she fits perfect what's going on in AEW.
Yeah.
Like she's great. But I thought this match was terrific. It was one of my favorite matches of the week last week. And again, the booking I thought was genius, having Julia Hart, Sky Blue, and Tekla, the final three. So you get your proper boos and then the proper cheers from the girls over at CMLL. Again, I was thoroughly impressed with all 18 members. And again, coming from a professional wrestling aspect, I'm like 15 minutes into watching this, and I'm like, these matches are so hard to put together because you have, again, there's so many moving parts. Like, wait, when's my spot up? What am I doing next? What's my next thing? Excellent. Again, everybody was great. This was an absolute home run. Super impressed and super excited for the CMLL Stardom relationship, my friend. But again, this was terrific, folks. If you have not seen this yet, well worth it. This is a whole show, but this was a majority of the show. This match alone, well worth your $10.
Yeah, absolutely. And shout out to Diamante as well, because the whole Diamante was really, really, really good. So a little bit buried under the talent that was on that show, but I thought she was really, really good. Really, really good. And just going off on Tekla again, like she's taken to the American style of wrestling like a duck. And we said that all of the promos and stuff she was doing in Stardom would fit a US TV style, and it has done. And she's taken to it like a duck takes to water. She really has. She's absolutely smashed it. So, yeah, full credit to her. Well done.
Two quick things. I want to say I love that camera that it's over the entranceway because everybody
Yeah.
turns and they get there. And I was really worried about Mina because Mina's trying to do the Mina dance with the big robe going down the steps. I'm like, oh God, this isn't going to end.
Oh my God, what's going to happen here?
This isn't going to end well. He was fine.
It was fine. It was fine. Moving on then, we move on to New Blood, which happened as we are recording. It happened today. So myself and Matt haven't had a chance to watch the whole show. It will be sort of parlayed into next week's show when we review Crimson Nightmare. But we just wanted to go over the big match that happened on this show. So if you haven't already seen it, just skip along, especially if you're on Spotify. It gives you the chapter. So just click on to the next chapter. But Stardom did run New Blood 26 today from the Kando Miyujin Hall. The New Blood Tag Team Championships did finally change, and it feels like we've been building to Hanako and Waka versus Aya Sakura and Sayaka Kurora for months.
They've been building towards that, but nothing else anyway.
But nothing else. Nothing on Crimson Nightmare, but this they've been building to. But 308 days rice or blood, rice or bread. Rice or bread have held these titles. The longest reigning in the title short lineage, but it is Sakurara who are your official new tag team champions. Aya Sakura pinning Hanako with a move that it was a straight jacket suplex, and I think it's called the Blooming Dream. Is the official name for it. But do you know what? I think this is a good title change. I think it needed to happen. Obviously, Hanako's now your Future Stardom champion. It can do stuff with the Future Stardom championships. I think Sayaka Kurora in particular has been treading water a little bit recently, after, winning the Cinderella, having that match with Saya Kamatani. I think since that, she's sort of almost been sort of not lost in the shuffle, but almost just present, but not without a real direction. And I think the same, not I don't think the same can be said for Aya Sakura, because at least she had the Sendai Girls Junior Championship, so she had the feuds with Yuna, and obviously she has been having this feud with Hanako. It's been more about those two than anything else. But what I did really like that after this show, Aya Sakura put over Waka Tsukiyama huge. Just cut a promo about basically Waka backstage and things like that. So I don't know the exact transcription of the promo, but it was very, very complimentary to Waka. So we'll talk about that next week. But I just wanted to get that out there, Matt.
Yeah, I did see the pictures where it looked like everybody was kind of in their Sunday best. Waka had new gear. Waka having two big matches in the last week or so,
Yeah.
with the main event here, semi-main event, Korakuen Hall, 1,200 people. Again, I and Sayaka, we kind of figured like this was the proper direction to go. So I'm excited to watch the match. Again, I was telling Rob before we hit record, I did watch a little bit of the show with just some of the stuff I thought was really, really good. But I'm excited to watch this one again, folks. We're going to talk about this one. We'll give you the in-depth details next week. So you're just going to have to wait just a little bit.
Just a little bit, absolutely. From the exact same venue, the Kanda Myojin Hall in Tokyo, LLPWX have announced their card for November the 14th, full card, and they've announced a really interesting 6-woman tag as their main event. The trio of Nori, Shinobu Kandori, and Miyuki Takase will be taking on the Mavida Loca pairing of Bozilla and Akira Kuragane and former MMA fighter Megumi Yabushita. Now, on top of this, there was a hell of a lot of interesting back and forth between Nori and Bozilla.
Shocker.
I believe the LLPW ladies were not impressed that no one turned up from Stardom's side for this press conference, and Bozilla put out a tweet that said, in no uncertain terms, "Have you seen my calendar? I'm busy." Which did make me laugh, to be perfectly honest. But we are getting Nori versus Bozilla. We are getting Shinobu Kandori versus Bozilla. Both of those little interactions are going to be very, very interesting.
And don't forget, one half of Red Energy, my favorite tag team
One
that's
half
not
of Red
inside of
Energy.
Miyuki Takase and Bozilla. And then who was it? Was it Akira?
It was, yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah, and Akira's great. Her stuff with Bozilla, both in ring and the comedy stuff was really good. And then we got Mister Joshi wrestling herself and Shinobi Kandori. Oh man, I'm so excited for this. And one thing with LLPW, we noticed it right after the Nori versus Sari match about a month ago. Their stuff went up on their YouTube channel quick. So hopefully, Rob, this is something that goes up on the YouTube channel quick, because this is going to be, as you say, my friend, my jam. It's going to be hard hitting, straight professional wrestling. Leave the comedy out of this one. There's not going to be much. Not going to be much hoo-hoo and ha-ha in this one. This is going to be the Joshi scene just seems to be like, let's just do this person, this person, this person. Let's put them in a tag or a 6-person or an 8-person. You're just, when you see the card, you're just like, oh, fantastic. That must be you, because my internet's been snappy, buddy.
No, it just occasionally does this. So just
No, you're good, buddy.
stay with me a second, because unfortunately I've now got to verify that it is in fact me. Do continue, Matt.
But no, I'm super excited for this one. And Bozilla is just another one that she's getting her name out there quite a bit. Obviously, what a great run that she had in her Marigold, and then obviously coming over to Stardom, doing some great stuff, teaming with Akira. A great run in the 5-star Grand Prix. Great match with Ami Sourei. Great match with Saida. Great match in that playoff with Suzu Suzuki. She's another one. We don't know where she's going to fall when it comes to the Goddess of Stardom Tag League. Does she team with Akira? Does she team with Suzu? I mean, hopefully we find that out sooner than later. But having Akira there, and then again, you have your two veteran MMA fighters on the opposite sides as well. And again, obviously, we're massive fans of Nori. She was great in last year's Dream Star Grand Prix from Marigold. I'm obviously a massive fan of one Miyuki Takase. Again, her and Miko Wada, one of my favorite tag teams in all of wrestling, and probably my favorite tag team that isn't in Stardom. So Again, just really great stuff. There's so much great wrestling around the horn, and you got to give credit to Bushiroad. They're letting a lot of these talents in Stardom spread their wings elsewhere, and whether and help other companies, because having a big star like Bozilla on this show is going to draw tickets. This is probably a show that we probably, as much as we love Nori and Miyuki Takahashi, this is probably a show that our match we probably wouldn't have talked about if Bozilla wasn't in there. So again, this is just helping professional wrestling as a whole get bigger and better. And ultimately, at the end of the day, that as fans, that's what we want.
Now, Matt, the rumors are true. Historic Crossover 3 did actually happen. Not only did it happen, it's finally on Stardom World. Well, at least the Stardom matches are. And we thought, Matt, seeing as it's actually on Stardom World, it would be a shame not to at least touch on these three matches. So we're going to go through them very, very quickly. Just a reminder of this show. It happened, feels like ages ago, the 5th of October, supposedly in Guangzhou, China. Three Stardom matches, by the way, opened with God's Eye, Ami Sourei, and Lady C defeating the Neo Genesis team of Miyu Amasaki and Starlight Kid. We then had Hanako have her first official successful title defense of the Future of Stardom Championship, defeating Aya Sakura in 13 minutes and 1 second. And then in your main event, the 6-woman tag match, Cosmic Angels, Natsuko, Saori Anou, and Sayaka Kurora, they defeated the hate team of Natsuko Tora, Rina, and Ruaka. Matt, that opener then, the Reiwa Tokyo Towers defeating Miyu Amasaki and Starlight Kid. Big win, to be fair, for the Reiwa Tokyo Towers, obviously ahead of their challenge for the Goddesses of Stardom Championships. That's how long ago this was, against BMI 2000.
Yeah, the crowd was really into everything, and really a great stage setup, like with the fireworks. It was a really, really cool setup. I thought the production was excellent. I thought every single wrestler on the Stardom roster was over like Rover, but Starlight Kid was clearly the biggest star. Like you can tell she was getting the biggest reactions. I thought all the matches were great. Again, we're going to kind of just touch upon them really quick. Ultimately, what this match came down to is just great tag team wrestling from Ami Sourei and Lady C. Starlight Kid and Miyu Amasaki, they really don't team up that much, although we have been seeing them in the past month, just out of necessity, team up a little bit more. Again, I think that they're terrific. Starlight Kid is such a massive star, not just in Stardom, but in professional wrestling. And I think that China fell in love with her really, really quick. But this was a great match. Ultimately, Lady C with that giant running. No, I'm sorry. She hits the Lady C hits the boot to take out Starlight Kid, and Ami Sourei hits the like a thunderbolt to put away Miyu Amasaki. I had this match at 3.5 stars.
Just quickly before we move on to the Future of Stardom Championship match, Matt, we do have a tag team name that might rival the Magical Sugar Rabbit, and that is Drunken Chicken, who were in the third match on the card. They lost to the Sino Bad Boys, by the way, for those who care, in the 12 minutes and 20 seconds. We then moved on to the Future of Stardom Championship match, Hanako versus Aya Sakura. And again, we've already touched on this with the New Blood stuff, but Hanako and Aya Sakura is one of the most low-key, one of the longest feuds in Stardom at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, they keep up what they're doing, my friend, and depending on if they're on opposite ends, if they're going to be in the same tag block league, it's a possibility that for the year-end award for feud of the year, you might have to throw Aya and Hanako in there, buddy, because
Absolutely.
they're having great matches. Again, you touched upon it both with the New Blood match, which again we will review next week. This was great. Again, you have two wrestlers that are wrestling in a country that they really don't wrestle, but they knew how to project their style of professional wrestling and their story they were telling to the people over in China. And the people in China, especially towards the end, really ate it up. Again, everybody got over. Towards the end, they were really ramping up because you didn't know which way it was going to go. You have Aya using the kicks to chop down Hanako. Hanako just firing back with the clotheslines, the big buckle bomb. She hits the superplex into the stalling suplex, which I thought was great. Aya comes back with the big head kick and the triangle choke, which Hanako eventually does the rampage bomb out of it. And then Hanako is able to hit a big lariat and the JP coaster to put away Aya. This is a great V1 for Hanako. I thoroughly enjoyed this, and so did the crowd. I actually had this at 4 stars, Rob. I thought this was tremendous, absolutely tremendous.
And then, of course, we move on to the main event. Cosmic Angels getting the pyro at the end of the night, defeating Hate, Natsuko Tora, Rina, and Ruaka. Did you think this was the right match to main event, Matt?
This was great. This was my favorite match of the three. Literally the point where you literally could have copy and pasted this match and put it on a main event in just about any Stardom World house show, and it would have been terrific because it was the good guys or the good girls versus the bad girls. You had the hate brawl, you had BMI 2000 putting the heat on Sayaka Kurora. We get a hot tag into Natsupoi. Natsupoi runs a couple bumps, and then she takes heat, and then the proper hot tag goes to Saori Anou. And you see, as we're about 5-6 minutes into this match is built around Saori Anou. Saori Anou had a lot of control in this match. And BMI 2000, Ruaka and Tora, they did a great job showing that they're BMI 2000. This was a great highlight for them as a tag team because most of the offense they did was based around them being a tag team, which again, ultimately they're the Goddess of Stardom tag team champions. Obviously, Soripoi was great. I want to see Soripoi versus BMI 2000. Maybe if Soripoi does win the tag league, if they are official tag team round, because we don't know, maybe it is BMI 2000 versus Soripoi at Dream Queendom. That's a possibility because I thought their stuff was great. The best parts of this match, and in my opinion, of this show, of these three matches, was the mini match we got with Arena and Saori Anou. Like we always say when we're watching a match and Stardom, a tag match, cool, I want to see that as a tag match. I want to see Rena versus Saori Anou. These two were great. Rena with the second rope knee bomb, the top rope knee bomb, and Saori Anou just selling like she just got shot with a shotgun. There was some great stuff, and there were some crazy bumps towards the end. There were some German suplexes at the end that rivaled all Japan in the 90s. There was one where Saori Anou throws Rena and drops Rena like right on the back of her neck. And I was like, oh my goodness. And I just love the finish where it looks like Rena's going to get the better of Saori Anou. And out of nowhere, here comes Natsupoi, super kicks Rena, helps with the special Potter ring for the 3 count. I thought this was great. 4 stars for me. A really great match. And again, we know these 3 matches were kind of just put on Stardom World here almost like last minute. Go out of your way to watch the main event because the main event was something really special, especially that last closing segments with Rena and Saori Anou. Just great stuff.
So I was listening, trust me. I'm intrigued by this tag league. I really am. So I've just sort of been making a list of almost definite teams that we are going to get. And then there are teams that obviously we're not sure of. So obviously Wingori, I'm not sure because we don't know about Hannon's injury. Peach Lily, we don't know because of Uriah Himi's injury. We also don't know the status of B. Priestley. In terms of confirmed teams, these are the ones that I think we are most likely to get. BMI 2000.
You think?
You would hope as the champions. I think you're probably going to get Rice or Bread.
Okay.
I think you're going to get O2 Line because they're one of the only established teams that we've actually got in Stardom, which means that you've got Starlight Kid and May Sarah. I think you're going to get Aya and Sayaka Kurora as New Blood Tag Team Champions. Makes sense. Poi and Saori Anou, which leaves Yuna with no one, which is really interesting. You've got FWC and Sari and Miku Kanai, which obviously they're not going to tease if that's not going to be in it. And the Reiwa Tokyo Towers. Everything else is up in the air because where does that leave Rian? Where does that leave Yuna? What combination are they going to do with Shiori, Saki Kashima, Tomoka Inabe, Ron Yagami?
Hina.
Exactly, Hina. Yeah. Are they, Hate's a really interesting one because there is not enough members to do a proper tag league. So I assume what they're going to do is BMI 2000, Devil Princess, and Psy Queen, which, if you remember, was Konami and Saya Kamatani, which leaves Momo Watanabe with no one. Now, that makes the most sense because you're not going to have Saya Kamatani beat Momo and then go, don't worry, you can be my tag partner in the tag league.
I think that's what they're going to do.
Do you really think that's what they're going to do?
I'm going to throw out a whole bunch of things. Some of them I'm somewhat serious. The other ones I'm just being funny. I think that one has a 50-50 shot at it. Everything else I'm going to say, you're like, Matt, you're out of your mind. And I am. I'm just going to be comical. But you continue, sir. Then tag me in and I'll tell you about my comical teams that I want to see. You're like, Matt, that doesn't make any sense, but I want to see that. But go ahead, continue.
I don't think Saki is doing full tours at the moment. And she hasn't been for a while. So I would be surprised if she does the tag league. Which, I mean, we've also then got what the hell is going to happen with Mavida Loca? Like, are we going to have Itsuki Aoki and Rini Yamashita for all of these dates? Are we going to be able to do the amount of matches they need to and the dates that they've got available? Which leaves an annoying three-way of Akira Kuragane, Bozella, and Suzu Suzuki. Now, for me, Bozella and Suzu Suzuki would be the team. However, that's not how Stardom works. Otherwise we'd have had Starlight Kid and Azumi. There's lots of interesting ways they can go, but with half of stars out injured or not here, with the sheer volume of members of Hate, with God's Eye as well, I don't see where we go, which is it's quite refreshing in a way.
Yeah, a lot of those teams made sense, Rob. So again, with Aya and Sayaka winning the New Blood Championships, I agree they're probably going to be a team. You don't split up Saori Anou and Natsupoi. As great as Yuna is with Aya as Sakura Damon, and as great as Yuna is with Saori Anou, they're probably your, as far as star power goes, they're probably your top tag team and have been for quite some time, right next to Wingori. So where does that leave Yuna? Rob, there was somebody that was on New Blood shows today. There's a New Blood show today that we're a massive fan of. Debbie Keetle. Pineapple coffee, right? Come on. Yeah. Yeah. Now, obviously I would love to see it, but I'm somewhat serious there. All right. Now, Rob, you're going now, as far as Neo Genesis goes, you're not going to please everybody on this one, because if you team Azumi with Miyu Amasaki, very much like we did last year, people like, we want Starbomb. We want Starbomb. We want Starbomb. If we get Starbomb, then the O2 line fans are going to be like, how come we're not teaming Azumi and Miyu Amasaki? They've been a team since 2022. What are we doing there? So, Rob, here's what you do. You got a red block and a B block. You put Starbomb on one and you put O2 line on the other, because it's Azumi, and why not, right? Now you're like, wait a minute, Matt, but that leaves May Sarah out. Yes, hold on one second. Now, what do we do with Mi La Vida Loca? Right? Okay, I'm going to say Aoki and Rina, they're going to be a team. Bozilla, Akira is going to be a team. And because even though it doesn't make sense, I don't care. We get Crazy Star back together just for this tag league. Makes no sense. But you tell me you don't want to see Crazy Star back together?
Of course I do, but literally they beat each other bloody. Was that Dream Queen? No, it was All-Star Grand Queendom, wasn't it? Like,
Rob, I grew up and watched.
Crazy.
I know, Star. Now, Rob, I grew up I watched Lethal Lottery, like, so the WCW. So that's same difference, right? But yeah, obviously I'm joking. That'd be cool. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, wild. But yeah, give me pineapple coffee. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where they do. Like, and I know we talked about this a few weeks ago, where it's just like, okay, I think Akira needs to be in this tournament because it's going to help her immensely. Being in the tournament, working the best of the best, and the stuff that they built up with Bozilla is great. They're great as a team, and they're really great, like, comedic stuff as well. Like, I just think that they gel both in and out of the ring as a tag team. So I want to see them. I want to see Aoki and Rina, because they were great in the match we're talking about a little bit against BMI 2000. And again, when I made mentions a couple weeks ago, where does that leave Suzu? Bring Risa Sera back for this tournament. From what I understand, Risa had this match with Takumi Roha, and people were telling me, Matt, do not watch it. It'll break your heart.
Honestly, mate, it's horrible.
It's horrible.
I love Risa Sera, but her knees have gone. It's really hard to watch.
And I won't watch it because I don't, I'm glad people told me, like, man, I'm not the one to watch somebody when they're on their way down. God bless. We know that we know she's on her retirement tour, and she might not even, you know what I mean? She might not even make it. God bless her. So hopefully she heals up, and maybe her last match is a 6-person, 8-person, where they can kind of work around her and give her the big send off that she absolutely has earned. So, but getting back to the tag league, man, you're right. I don't know which way they're going to go. Yeah, you're right. God's Eye, with the exception of Ami and Lady C, we got Kyoto Katatsu. We got, Ami or Lady C. That's got to be the team there. Exactly. Who does Shuri team with? Who does Hina team with? Who does Kyoto team up? Who does Tomoka team up? Who does Rana team up? You can the great thing with that is you can slice that any which way you want, and it's going to work because they're pretty much all killers. So that's going to be really, really fun and interesting. As far as Hate goes, I wouldn't be shocked if you see Rina and Konami as a team, because they've been doing some great work. But then maybe you do a Zeus and Fuki and Death as kind of like your funny comedy thing there. But you're right. Which way did they slice it? And what if they do something where it's like, we are building towards a Momo face turn, and maybe they're going to redo Momo and Saya at Queendom, and maybe them teaming up in the Goddess of Stardom Tag League is the way we get there. That's a possibility as well. I don't know. I'm interested, but again, can we just get some teams? But more than likely, Rob, how it usually goes, as soon as we get done recording, we're gonna be like, it'll be like boom. But again, and then obviously the team that was teased on Cork and that we're probably gonna get is Saori versus Miku Kanai, which I am so excited for. Obviously, we love Saori, she's great. The fact that Miku Kanai is gonna get this big opportunity, more than likely, in the Goddess of Stardom Tag League, wrestling the likes of Azumi, Starlight, obviously depending on what bracket they're in. Azumi, Starlight Kid, Natsupoi, Sai Kamatani, Momo Watanabe. I'm super excited if that team does get announced. But yeah, we shall see, my brother. We shall see.
Wouldn't surprise me if we get Saori and Rana as a team.
Was it late team last year? No, that was Tomoka and Rana.
Tomoka and Rana.
Shuri and
Yeah.
Saki last year.
Again, I'm basing this solely on perhaps Saki not doing the tour. If Saki does the tour, it will probably be Saori and Saki. But if we get Rana and Saori, don't be surprised if we get Sari and Miku in the same block.
That would make sense too. Like on
It would
opening
make sense.
night, that like either opening night or closing night. Like you always have like that big marquee match. But yeah, again, with the people that we haven't heard anything on Hanan, so maybe
There's
that's
nothing.
maybe that they hold her off for the return there because it's like, here's your winners of last year. Hanan's return is on night one, which will kind of make it for a bigger deal than if she returns on a, no offense, a KBS Hall show. So it's like, yeah, she's back, the winner of the tournament last year. She makes her return with her tag partner Saida. You put more buzz on it. But yeah, I guess I'm going to say we shall see, but hopefully we will see because it starts in a week.
Well, exactly. I mean, we could go all out and say, if Mike is healed,
I like your idea. Almost as bad as pineapple coffee.
Not quite as good as pineapple coffee. I do think we need to put that into the ether because that's a great shout. But I mean, we did have Cup High Mate last year. They were the runners up, which means that you can then have Waka and Rian. It wouldn't surprise me if we have Yuna Mizumori teaming with one of the rookies, potentially Kikyo Furusawa. We know that Ann Kanai and Matoi aren't a million miles off from their respective injuries, so hopefully we see them in the tournament. But again, yeah, there's a lot of possibilities and a lot of interest, which is great. But I would like to know soon what the teams actually are, with us being what, a week away from the actual tournament or just over. Anyway, Matt Turner, let's turn our attentions to the shows we're going to talk about this week. And we are going to start in Fuji, Stardom in Fuji 2025, the October edition from the 26th of October 2025. Just a couple of injury updates for this show. Uriah Himi still absent because of that injury at New Blood, or before New Blood, should I say, in Himeji. Hazuki and Koguma still out in Mexico at this point. Azumi still out, Hanan still out, Suzu out of this show as well. This show came from Fuji-san Mess in Fuji, attendance of 535 people. This is a 5.22% increase on the previous house at Fuji-san Mess, which was 507 on the 16th of February earlier this year. 535 is also the second highest number they've drawn to the venue of the 8 times their company have run it. And it's the highest since the 2023 Triangle Derby, where they drew 647. So there you go. A good number there. In terms of the results, we opened with a tag team match. Ruaka and Rena of Hate defeated the Stars team of Sayurida and Momokogo. Ruaka pinning Momokogo with the freezer bomb in 9 minutes and 11 seconds. 6-woman tag team match, EXV, Hanako, Wakasukiyama, and Rian getting the win, defeating Emma Maishima, Amisori, and Hina. Rian, gang-size Rian, stone cold Rian getting the win over Emma Maishima, with the Hanaguruma in 13 minutes and 14 seconds. Another tag team match, the Hate team of Natsuko Tora and Azusa Inaba, perhaps the only sort of configuration of Hate we didn't mention for the tag league. They got the win over Mavida Loka, Bozilla, and Akira Kuragane. Azusa Inaba getting the win over Akira Kuragane with the Azusa Inaba's older sister Super in 11 minutes and 28 seconds. 8-woman tag team action next. The Cosmic Angels team of Natsuko, Yuna Mizumori, Ai Sakura, and Sayaka Kurora defeated the God's Eye team of Lady C, Tomoka Inaba, Ronnie Yagami, and Saki Kashima, with Sayaka Kurora getting the pin over Saki. A devastated Saki Kashima with a jackknife pin in 30 minutes and 47 seconds. Random singles match on in the semi-main event, but a good singles match. Saori Anou defeating Kikyo Furusawa with the German suplex in 9 minutes and 41 seconds. And then in your main event, 6-woman tag team match, all-star tag team match, if I do say so. Neo Genesis, Starlight Kid, Meiseo, and Miyu Amasaki, they defeated the Hate team of Sayaka Kamatani, Konami, and Momo Watanabe. Kid pinning Konami with the moonsault in 13 minutes and 51 seconds. Let's talk about this tag team match then, Matt. And this could be the Stars team that we get if injuries prove to be a little bit more intense than we first thought. Saori Anou, Momo Kogo, how do you think they teamed together here?
Again, I mentioned this last week that these two, obviously, they're holding up Stars literally by themselves, and they're doing a great job. They really are. They work so well together. This is terrific stuff. And again, Rob, because we don't know what's going to happen, maybe this Rina versus Ruaka team for no reason whatsoever, that might be one of the teams in the Goddesses Stardom Tag League. Obviously, Ruaka is great. She's great. She knows her character, knows what she needs to do to get proper heat on her opponents that builds to the hot tag. Saida here, just so explosive. Her stuff with Ruaka I thought was terrific, but the most impressive things to me were the sequences between Momo Kogo and Rina. Really great stuff. Again, Rina is just, she, ever since that middle of that Future Stardom Championship run, we're like, okay, this is a special wrestler, and she goes out and absolutely steals the show in the 5-star Grand Prix, making it to the Final Four, and she's constantly capitalizing on her success. Again, only 18 years old, just a really next level wrestler. But ultimately, though, it is Ruaka hitting the freezer bomb on poor Momo Kogo, a really great opener to start the show, and an easy story to tell. You have your heels, your baby faces. The crowd knows when to cheer. They know when to boo. They take them on the emotional roller coaster. It's just unfortunate that the good girls lose in this one. Momo Kogo eating another L, but we love her regardless. 3.5 stars.
Moving on, 6-woman tag, EXV, Rian getting the win. It happens so rarely, so it's a breath of fresh air when she does get it. Getting the win with the Hanaguruma over Emma Maishima. Matt Turner, could Hina and Emma Maishima be a team in the tag league?
It's a possibility, my friend. We're throwing everything at the wall, Rob.
We
So
are.
when they
So that
announce
we
the
can
teams,
claim we're right.
we're like, that was our 7th pick, but we said it. We said it live on air. So Hina here was terrific as always. Her stuff with Hanako, we mentioned in the 5-star Grand Prix, hidden gem of a match, and obviously Hanako defeating Hina to win the Future Stardom Championship. But my 2 main points in this match was Hanako and Amisori. The shoulder tackles, the lariat. It's like you have your 2 big hard hitters just really going at each other. And then the main point I want to make is that, again, the trio that's holding up EXV, why Xena and Mike are on the shelf, Hanako, Waka, and Rion, they team up so much together this year and are really an unsung trio. Maybe some of the best, doing some of the best trios work in all of Stardom right now. Really great, sinking in different things. Obviously, Hanako and Waka, great tag team. Waka and Rion, they were a team in last year's Goddesses Stardom Tag League. Remember, Rob, they won their first 2 matches. We thought they were going to go on that Goldberg-like streak. And then, of course, we put the hummingbird jinx to it, and they lost every match after that. Emma's another one improving every single match, leaps and bounds, pun intended, because she has a great springboard high cross body. Ultimately, it's just too much teamwork from EXV that gets the job done. Stone Cold Rion celebrating with the cold one, getting the win. 3.5 stars for me.
Bozilla and Akira Kuragane versus Natsuko Tora and Azusa Inaba. It'll be interesting to see if Bozilla and Akira Kuragane are the team that goes ahead in this tag league. How quickly Bozilla's frustration with Akira and her propensity for losing, I will be intrigued to see how long that patience lasts.
There's a story they can tell where maybe they drop like 3 or 4 in a row and they're out of contention. And then maybe like the last 2 matches, they beat like Momo and Saya and Soripoi, where Bozilla's like, all right, we lost a lot of matches, but we beat like the top teams going out. You know what I mean? It's like when you have that team that's like, they're not going to qualify for the playoffs, but right before the playoffs, they beat like the best teams. It's like, oh, they got some potential there. That's a story they can tell. Regardless, the story that was told here was Tora versus Bozilla, Yes, please give me that in Korakuen Hall for 12 minutes. These two absolutely laid into each other. You knew what you're going to get, and we got in spades. It was great. Ultimately, it was just young Azusa Inaba versus young Akira, basically a mini match at the end. And these two not only delivered, but over delivered. Again, Azusa teamed really well with Tora here, considering they're not normal partners. Bozil and Akira, we got this ongoing story, which is one of the most entertaining things in Stardom. And Bozil is an absolutely fantastic professional wrestler. Azusa and Akira at that end stretch with the strikes and then the submissions, and ultimately Azusa hitting that pump kick, putting away Akira. Great match. 3 matches in a row that I would give the same grade to 3.5 stars.
Yeah, it was a really solid show, this Fuji show. And that was, again, what we can say about this next match, the 8-woman tag match. I really enjoy Cosmic Angels at the moment. I know we used to call, Natsupoi, Saori Anou, and Tam the Workhorse Angels, but I think it's fair to say that Sayaka Kurora, Naya Sakura, and Yuna, they are now your work rate angels. For me, anyway.
Yeah, they worked so well together. I mean, this was terrific in a lot of different aspects. And we said this last week. The combination of Natsupoi and Lady C out of nowhere worked, and it worked here again. Obviously, you have the comedic stuff here with Saki Kashima. You have the quick falls with her and Yuna. That's a pairing that always seems to work. Tomoka and Ibushi is great. Like I love Tomoka and Aya because styles make fights, and they both have that hard hitting, kicking, striking, firing up style. Those two work really well together. And obviously, Tomoka Inaba is one of the bigger stars in this company. We've seen her having great runs in the 5-star Grand Prix. We've seen her challenge for both the red and white belt. I would love to see a program with Aya and Tomoka, or again, put it 14, 15 minutes. We've seen, and we're going to talk about in the next match. We've seen Stardom always puts one singles match on these quote unquote house shows. Give me Tomoka versus Aya, 12, 13 minutes. That would absolutely be fantastic. Rana is another one that's terrific. Obviously, Natsupoi is the straw that stirs the drink as far as star power goes. And then again, we're playing on this funny storyline with Sayaka Kurora and Saki Kashima. Or maybe Sayaka Kurora is the one that kind of put this almost the pen to paper for Saki Kashima to agree to that match with Bozilla. So you have a storyline coming off there. Does Bozilla get added in? I don't know. I am all for it. Great match. 8 fantastic wrestlers, 2 great factions, 3 and 3/4 stars. The Cosmic Angels, very much like Neo Genesis. Any way you put them together, singles, tag, 8-person, it always seems to work, which just goes to show you what a great credit that faction is. Like it's a great credit on how terrific they are, because it doesn't matter which dance partner that they have. Cosmic Angels always seems to work. And considering the fact, again, still no Tam, Rob. We are, 6 months out? It's been 6 months. Still not a peep from Tam Nakano. All I'm saying, we're in Sumo Hall, and all of a sudden we hear the tears.
I'm going to have to pick you up off the floor if that happens.
Well, considering that you might be in a bike like ET, or we're both going to, might be my poor wife, God bless her.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure she's going to care when Tam comes down.
No, she might be having to be like these two. Because I already told her, I said, just let you know, like, Rob and I are going to be crying as we're walking into these buildings, because these are buildings we've been watching professional wrestling in like 30 some years. Just like, I'm like, just be prepared. Just be prepared to be like, no, I'm not with them. No, I don't know who these two guys are.
Bring the tissues. Just bring the tissues.
I'm going to run.
This was a really surprising match, Saori Anou and Kikyo Furusawa. And this is what I do like about sort of having those odd singles matches on these house shows. And it's something that Marigold do as well. So just give you that sort of spotlight, if you will, on someone that doesn't necessarily get on the bigger shows. And Kikyo Furusawa here, I thought, did herself a world of good ahead of getting her first ever singles victory at New Blood 26. I thought this was a great outing for her.
This was terrific. You would have been forgiven if Saori Anou had like 75% of this match. Like former Wonder of Stardom champion, former Goddess of Stardom champion, one of the best wrestlers in, my opinion, the best wrestling company in the world. Kikuo Furusawa is still a rookie, hasn't won a singles match yet going into this match. So I'm like, Saori Anou, it wouldn't be shocking me if she's got 70-75% of this match. Saori Anou, very unselfish. This was almost like a 50-50 match up until the end, and Anou had a blitzer. And again, what's great about this is Kikyo is in the ring by herself. She doesn't have a tag partner to tag. She doesn't have 2 other people on the other side of the ring where it's just like, me and Saori Anou, our stuff's not gelling. Let her tag in Natsupoi. Maybe I'll have better luck there. No net, going wrestling, one of the best wrestlers in the world. And again, it's possibility that Saori Anou is closing that show in Sumo Hall. We've been talking about it for the past 2 or 3 weeks. Saori Anou versus Saya Kamatani is a big matchup if they build it right, which it's not going to take much of a build if that's the way they go. And it's a match we want to see. And Kikuyo Furusawa holds her own, into Saori Anou's credit, because she's an absolute professional. She makes sure Kikuyo gets where she needs to be and make sure she's put in the proper light. This is the best Kikuyo first hour performance in her young career for 2 reasons. One, she had a level up, and she actually did. And 2, Saori Anou made sure she got there. Eventually, though, Saori Anou hitting one of the best German. We always talk about the Tom's Tundra and the special Potter ring and everything that she does. You can put Saori Anou up there with Chihiro Hashimoto and Utami Hayashishita as having like the best German suplex in professional wrestling. She's got again, because her bridge is just absolutely insane. I don't think that woman has a spine. Great match, 3 3/4 stars, really terrific stuff. I like it when Stardom does this. They take the younger wrestlers, the rookies, and they put them in a singles match with an established star. Because, quote Arn Anderson, the only way you're going to get better at wrestling is to wrestle people better than you. And this is the prime example. Do this every show.
Question then. So, because I can't focus on just one thing, I'm thinking about Dream Queendom at the moment.
Okay.
And we are all assuming that Saya Kamatani retains against Momo Watanabe. There'll be something that happens as a story beat, undoubtedly, in that show. But Saya Kamatani is going to retain. They are undoubtedly building something with Saya and Saori Anou. I love Saori Anou. Absolutely love her. I think she is a fantastic singles wrestler. I think she's great as a tag team, especially with Natsupoi as Saori Poi. Be honest. Is Saya Kamatani versus Saori Anou big enough for Ryogoku?
Yep.
Do you think so?
Yep. And because a lot of it has to do with Saya Kamatani. She's the big star. No matter who you put in that extra, and they've already sold a whole bunch of tickets. We've seen they opened up they've opened up. It looks like, from what I see, that there's 31 sections opened up. I think last year was like 21 or 22. So I think that they're looking to do 5 or 6. And again, I could be wrong. So you're gonna have Saya Kamatani there. We've seen Saori Anou and Natsupoi on their own proto show sell out. Was it Oda Ward, 2,500 people, 2,600 people? Excuse me, my second Gorilla Monsoon reference. So Saori Anou is a big star. She's never gotten that proper spot. Like when she was Wonder Stardom champion, she did really well, but they never got the machine behind her. You know what I mean? So if they know in a week or two, like they're dead set, like, okay, we're gonna do Saori Anou versus Saya Kamatani. And again, I think that Saya's championship match needs to be announced no later than like the 22nd of November to give it a proper 5-6 week build. You build that up, Rob, over 4 or 5 weeks. Saori Anou's charisma is off the chart. Off the chart, literally, to the point when, and I've told you this story both off and on air, and I'm going to say it again. Our good buddy Chad, that he only watches American wrestling. He pretty much only watches WWE. When Julia came in, he's like, I know she's from Stardom. I've never seen her before, but I was like, oh my God, the charisma on the entrance alone. I literally sent him a YouTube video of Saori Anou's entrance on All-Star Grand Queendom last year versus Han. It was just the entrance. And he's like, this girl's the best wrestler. And she hasn't even wrestled yet. The charisma, the aura, she's a phenomenal wrestler. You give this 4, 5, 6 weeks of a build where you're doing Saori Poi versus Saya and whoever. Or not only that, Rob, if we're going 3-4 weeks on all these quote unquote house shows, just give me Hate with Saya Kamatani versus Cosmic Angels with Saori Anou. Any which way you slice it, they're going to be great matches. All you need to do is get the machine behind it. I don't think they're going to announce Saori Anou versus Saya Kamatani 1 week before Dream Queendom, like supposedly they're doing everything else. But
apparently.
But to answer your question, absolutely. Again, give her the opportunity. Not only that, who are your 3 or 4 big main eventers right now in Stardom? Sai Kamatani, Starlight Kid, they're definitely 1 or 2. Sherry, because she's IWGP. When she gets something to sink her teeth into, there's maybe no better wrestler on the planet than Sherry. And then probably either Azumi or Momo Watanabe. So say we do this Saori Anou versus Sai Kamatani match in Dream Queendom, and it does 4,000 people, which I'm assuming the tickets might even be close there already. Again, I don't know. Saya Kamatani wins. What have you done with Saori Anou? You now can make her in that main event scene with Saya, with Starlight Kid. because she's a proven ticket draw when you get the machine behind her. Now, at the same time, could they just be like, we know we can sell tickets with Saori Anou and Natsupoi, and we'll keep them as a team, and maybe they win the Goddess tournament, maybe they go on to Dream Queendom and defeat BMI 2000, and that's the way to go, very much like they did with Wingori last year? Sure. Do I want to see Saori Anou versus Saya Kamatani? Absolutely. It would be a great match. Absolutely. Does it fill Sumo Hall? I really think it does. And a lot of it has to do with Saya Kamatani. Just get the machine behind Saori Anou.
It's interesting because I think if Micah's fit for Dream Queendom, that has to be the match you do. Simply because of the history. And I think with it being your biggest show of the year, arguably, comparably with All-Star Grand Queendom, obviously. I think you're right. I think with enough build, you can certainly make it big enough. I think Saori Anou is a phenomenal wrestler, as I've already mentioned. Currently, I just don't see her in the same bracket as those elite performers in this company. And
And why
by
is that,
that,
Rob? And why is that? Because she's never gotten the opportunity.
true, absolutely,
And here it is.
absolutely.
Tell me, what is she lacking? Is she lacking? Do you think she's a main event style professional wrestler?
Now, I think she can go for the red belt. That's not a problem. That's not a problem. That's not my issue, because it's not an issue. If they were to announce this for Ryogoku, I don't think there'll be a single person that's disappointed. With it being your big show, I feel like it has to have something more behind it. So, whereas with All Star Grand Queendom, you had, for example, Sire and Tam, and I know that you're not going to be able to replicate what that was. But even with Sire and Momo, you've got the history of Queen's Quest together. You've got, the history of, sort of Momo being the first leader of Saya Kamatani, and that first bit of tough love as she started out on her own quote unquote quest, I suppose.
Oh,
I know.
we're crushing today.
Which is why I think if Micah's fit, you have to do Micah, because there's history there, because there is animosity there, because there's a backstory that you can really plumb into. And I think if this was Crimson Nightmare, Sai versus Saori Anou is a no-brainer. Absolutely. But I think with what they are trying to establish with Dream Queendom as it being basically the end show for Stardom for the year, this huge show, I feel like it has to be a huge, huge main event. And I just don't think there's enough history between Saya and Saori Anou for that to reach the same levels. It's nothing to do with Saori Anou as a wrestler, nothing to do with her ceiling, nothing to do with her character, her charisma, her style, nothing to do with that, because she's phenomenal. And again, if this was Crimson Nightmare we were talking about, she'd absolutely be in that main event category. And I think she should be. Stardom have announced that Supreme Fight again is at Korakuen again, 31st January. If that's the defense that Saori Anou goes for Saya Kamatani, hell yes, absolutely. I'm all for that. They'll tear the house down. I just feel like there has to be something more for these big shows. Because, again, Stardom have got two. All-Star Grand Queendom and Dream Queendom. Those shows need to be put on a bigger pedestal than a Crimson Nightmare, than a Sapporo Rendezvous. No disrespect to those shows.
I see your point, Ron. I want to throw something else back at you. So it's the show of the end of the year. So what if they do Saya versus Saori Anou? It's the end of the year, but it's the beginning of a new story. Where Saya Kamatani wins, and now we see Saori Anou in a new light, because she took Kamatani to that next level. And you're gonna have Kamatani like, holy geez, like, obviously Kamatani's very, very, very cocky, very even like she wins, but like she's got the belt, she's clutching onto it. Like, oh my, I almost lost this. I have had this for a year, and this is the closest I've ever lost to losing it.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're like, I want to see that again. I want to see that again. So maybe it's the end of the year. And again, a lot of people are going to be at that show because it's Wrestle Kingdom weekend. You get a lot of people flying internationally to see that show. There are a lot of eyes on that show. Again, a lot of people are on Christmas break. So a lot of people are going to be watching that either live or afterwards around the world. So it's going to be a lot of newer eyes on Saori Anou. You throw in the partnership with CMLL. I mean, it could be a really big deal. I definitely see your point. You have a lot of valid points. Obviously, the Micah match would be bigger as far as the story goes. Obviously, what they did with Tam last year and all the history that they've had going up into that match, and then fast forward to what happened earlier this year. but you can really build something there with Soriano and Sai Kamatani. It's the end of the year, but it could really be the beginning of a major story with Soriano and Saya Kamatani. I mean, look what Saya Kamatani did with Sayaka Kurora. Like, holy, almost sold out Korakuen Hall with young Sayaka Kurora. It's like, holy geez. Again, as long as the machine gets behind it, and again, the common denominator is the other person on that side is Saya Kamatani. It's wild. It really, really is.
I do agree with you. I do like the idea of it being the start of a new story. I just don't think Dream Queendom is the time to do that. But I can completely see your point. Absolutely. And again, if they do announce Saori Anou versus Saya Kamatani again, I have absolutely no doubt it'll be an absolutely breathtaking match. I think a part of it as well is that I just don't see Saori Anou being the one to dethrone Saya.
I don't think anybody's beaten Saya. I don't even think Bushiroad and Stardom knows who's beating Saya Kamatani.
It's true. There's no one that can beat Saya at the moment, simply because there's no one else on her level at the moment,
The
even
only,
Starlight Kid.
the only thing that I think that could beat Saya Kamatani, and maybe because I just need to do a Back to the Future reference, is they go in the DeLorean, they go
Yeah,
back to 2022, and we have the Golden Phoenix versus the Phoenix Queen. That's the match I want to
absolutely.
see.
Absolutely. Who doesn't? Who doesn't? Speaking of Saya
Oh,
Kamatani,
yeah, that's
let's get
right.
into the main event of Fuji, because we actually are in the middle of talking about a show. It's just that, yeah, just with
It was a
all the
great
talk about
comment.
Saori Anou.
That was and folks, please let us know. What do you think about Soriano versus Sai Kamatani? Is that main event a Dream Queendom? Is the main event a Korakuen? Eventually, we just need to see it. Like, I just want
We
to see
do
it.
need to see it, absolutely. And I do just want to point that out to all Saori Anou fans who might well be coming for me with pitchforks and torches. I am a huge Saori Anou fan. But yes, Neo Genesis versus Hate Matt. And unsurprisingly, this was, for me at least, the best match on the card.
Yeah, this was the best match on the show, and probably my second or third favorite match from these two shows we're going to talk about. What this comes down to is, again, Neo Genesis is so great as a team. Tag team, 6-person, 8-person. They're just so in sync with each other does. And then Sai and Momo just blow up at each other towards the end of the match. And then ultimately, Sai and Momo almost take each other out. That opens up the door for just a litany of offense for Starlight Kid to get her win back on Konami, because Konami beat her, I think, 2 or 3 weeks ago. And then it was Konami that actually choked out Starlight Kid and made Starlight Kid tap out for Konami and Rina and Fuki and Death, the greatest wrestler of all time, by the way, to
Absolutely.
defeat Neo Genesis in Korakuen Hall to win the Artist of Stardom champion. So you had a lot that they done here. Obviously, May and Miyu were fantastic as always. Miyu, pretty much ever since the tail end of the 5-star Grand Prix until right now, has really upped her game. Not only in ring, but like just the charisma, the look, really doing great stuff. Not only that, Rob, you know me, I'm one for the kids. Miyu Amasaki is for the kids. It seems like every big match that Neo Genesis wins, she just picks a random kid out of the audience and picks them up. I was like, good for you, Miyu Amasaki, getting over with the kids. Neo Genesis and Miyu Amasaki is definitely for the kids. But again, the Sai and Momo stuff was great. Like, Saya obviously has great chemistry with Starlight Kid. Eventually, that is going to be a big match they're going to do. Whether they do that for the Tokyo Dome, whether it's All-Star Grand Queendom, that's a big match that Stardom knows they have in their back pocket when the time is right. Maysayer and Konami. Again, Konami's just been having great chemistry with just like random wrestlers that like, oh, I didn't see that coming. I didn't see that coming. Like, Konami's having an underrated, arguably her best career year she's ever had. And again, she's in a big, big main event style match coming up here just on Monday. Ultimately, though, like I said, Rob, it's Sai Kamatani and Momo Watanabe not getting along. Momo Watanabe with an inapparent bat shot. Again, does that play into something on Monday? We shall see. That opens up the door for, again, a litany of offense from Neo Genesis. The Black Tiger pile driver onto Konami, and then May does the dive that takes out Momo and Saya. They're pretty much fighting on the outside. Starlight Kid hits that phenomenal moonsault for the 3 count. 4 stars for me. My favorite match from the show. Not only that, but it set up so many things that we're going to see on Monday and maybe afterwards. Rob Goodwin, you look very perplexed over there. You okay, buddy?
Yeah, sorry, I was thinking about 15 other things, but no, you're absolutely right. What I do like for everything that we've said about sort of a lack of build between Saya and Momo in terms of being on opposite teams, I think what they have done very well is a more subtle sort of slow progression of frustration between the other, not, so almost a distrust between each other. Yeah, okay, we're on the same team, but I know for a fact that you are coming for my red belt sooner rather than later. So are you going to try and, hit me when my back's turned? When Momo swings a bat and just hits everything in a path, whether it's a teammate or an opponent, suddenly that becomes a case of, well, was that on purpose? Because you're facing me on the 3rd of November. And I quite like that subtle breakdown of trust between the two that they're doing. And that's all on them. So fair play for that. Again, I think that the best or the most well built feud going into Crimson Nightmare is Starlight Kid and Konami, which is a match that I will be perfectly honest and I will hold my hands up. I wasn't convinced that we needed to see again this soon. There's still loads of people that I would love to put in that position against Starlight Kid. However, I think they are doing a very good job with it. And if they are going to up the aggression from even that match in the Cinderella tournament where Konami, pardon my French, beat the piss out of Starlight Kid for like a good 10 minutes of that 15-minute match or whatever it was, then I'm all here for it. Especially as, you put it, it's going to be more of a hate-centric show, sort of almost a hate produce pay-per-view, if you will. So, yeah, I'm intrigued to see what happens there.
They should just call it Hate Sold Out. If you remember the NWO Sold Out.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Hate Sold Out for life.
Yeah, Saya Kamatani arrives on the back of a bin lorry. Yes, that's what we want in the snow.
Yeah, -9 degrees out. Like Kevin Nash this day is like, why were we doing our own pay-per-view? We're supposed to be these rich people in Minnesota in the middle of the winter. Coming out back at trucks. I still love that concept. Master Chono wrestled Chris Jericho on that show, by the way, folks.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Moving on then, we obviously had the latest Stardom Korakuen Hall show on Monday, the 27th of October. It's the first Nighter show we've had since September. A couple bits of information. The 36th Goddess of Stardom Champions BMI 2000, that's Katora and Ruaka, will be defending the Goddess of Stardom Championships on this show for the second time against Itsuki Aoki and Rini Yamashita of Mi Vida Loca. Currently BMI 2000, 98 days into that reign. 27th high-speed champion Mei Seira has been champion for 456 days as of this show anyway. And this will be her 8th title defense against Waka Tsukiyama. It'll be Waka's first ever attempt at the high-speed championship. It's her first attempt at a singles title since her last unsuccessful challenge for the future Stardom Championship in August 2023. This will be her 5th singles match with Mei Seira, Matt. She's lost all 4. She is 0-4 against Mei Seira up to this show, so not exactly the most stellar of records. But in terms of Mei Seira, just listen to this for a statistic. A win for Mei Seira on this show will guarantee that she moves to 4th in the all-time list in terms of length of a single reign with the high-speed championship, because it will guarantee that she moves over Azumi's 458 days as champion, making her the longest reigning high-speed champion since Mary Apache in 2017 and 2018. So quite the stat for Mei Seira and quite the accolade as well. Just a couple of returns from injury as well, which Stardom have sorely needed, I feel. Azumi and Suzu Suzuki both returned to action on this show after varying periods out with injury. As I mentioned, this is in Korakuen Hall. The announced attendance inside Korakuen was 1,220 people. Now, though this attendance is a 12.61% decrease from the previous show at Korakuen Hall, which was 1,396 on the 11th of October, it is a 9.1% increase on the previous Korakuen Nighter show, up from 1,109 on September 10th. Now, with this number being the highest for a Korakuen Nighter show since April. So again, yes, okay, it's down from the last Korakuen Hall show, but no big singles title. And actually, when you put it in context of the other Nighter shows, which, historically draw less than Korakuen Hall shows in the day at the weekend anyway, which is why they've done this concept, I think drawing their best number in a Nighter show since April is a very good thing for Stardom. Again, without a Wonder of Stardom Championship or a World of Stardom Championship match on the card. Saya Kamatani not in a big match. Starlight Kid not in a big match either. And the show, again, continues this unbelievable record of every Korakuen Hall show of 2025, surpassing 1,000 people. This is the 18th in a row to do that, the 22nd of the last 23, which is quite astounding, really, when you consider that we are almost in November. In terms of the results, then, we open with a tag team match. Rani Agami and Kikyo Furusawa defeated Emma Maishima and Momo Kogo, with Rana pinning Emma with a beat strike in 7 minutes and 28 seconds. 12-woman tag team match next. The hate team of Saya Kamatani, Konami, Momo Watanabe, Rina, Azusa Inaba, and Fukiken Death. They defeated the very mishmatch team, and this is a theme on this show. They did sort of just give up with all sorts of faction alliances here. They defeated Kyoka Katatsu, Tomoka Inaba, and Hina of God's Eye, and Miyu Amasaki, Azumi, and Starlight Kid of Neo Genesis, with Konami pinning Starlight Kid with a buzzsaw kick after 13 minutes and 43 seconds. But that's only after Starlight Kid ate a hell of a lot of different things as well. 10-woman tag team match next. Shiori Saki Kashima, Amisori Hanako, and Rian. They defeated the team of Natsupoi, Aya Sakura, Sayaka Kurora, a returning Suzu Suzuki, and Bozilla. Saki Kashima pinning Aya with the Kish Kasai in 8 minutes and 24 seconds. Unfortunately, we did not get Bozilla joining in on the Cosmic Angels dance. Three-way match next. Lady C defeated Saya Ida and Akira Kuragane. Lady C pinning Akira with the big boot in 9 minutes and 26 seconds. The best big boot in the damn game. Tag team match next. Sari and Miku Kanai, they defeated the Cosmic Angels team of Yuna Mizumori and Saori Anou. Sari pinning Yuna with the Uranagi in 12 minutes and 1 second. Semi-main event, high-speed championship match. Mei Seira, the champion, defeating Waka Tsukiyama with the checkmate. She actually connected and won a match with it, Matt. So double jeopardy there in 10 minutes and 25 seconds. That's not how double jeopardy works, but there we are. And then in your main event, the Goddesses of Stardom championships match. BMI 2000, Natsuko Tora and Ruaka, the champions, defeating the Mivida Loka team of Rini Yamashita and Itsuki Aoki, with Tora pinning Aoki with the Swanton Bomb in 20 minutes and 26 seconds. Matt, we opened with a tag team match. Rani Agami, in particular, looking quite impressive here. But I thought Emma Maishima shone a lot as well. What about you?
Yeah, Emma was terrific. Again, her Emma and Kikyo, they seem to be having this feud in October. We saw them again wrestle the opener again on New Blood. Again, they're rookies. They're rookies pretty much in the same class, so you kind of see where they're at there. You can tell that story, if they're big stars in 5, 6, 7 years where they came up together. Again, Momo Kogo, she's just absolutely fantastic. But at the end, this is all really about Rana just really kicking ass. Again, Rana, her striking, her fire, like where she needs to be in the ring, how she puts together her finishes, considering she's only been wrestling a little over 2 years, is really next level. Great way to start the show. 3.5 stars for me.
Moving on to just everyone and their mum versus hate. I really enjoyed Kyoka Katatsu's new gear, because that does need to be pointed out, because she upped that significantly. We were not fans of the pajamas she was wearing before, and now she went into a whole lot of detail about the new gear, because it's actually, if you zoom in on it, dragon scales, which is quite cool. And she did say there was something to do with the pink and the way it was fashioned into it. And I can't remember what she said now, but I know that there's dragon scales on the white, which is quite cool. But also, again, real uptick in the aggression between Konami and Starlight Kid. Great to see Azumi back in the ring as well. Her stuff with Momo Watanabe, though brief, just a little reminder of how good that is. And then, of course, even more dissent between Saya Kamatani and Momo as we inch towards Crimson Nightmare.
I think I say this every week. I'm going to say it again. I don't know how Stardom does this. 6-person, 8-person, 10. Now we got 12, right? You're kind of like, you're literally just putting hate against 2 different factions. Okay, this will be fun. And the bell rings, and this is match 2, and you get the wild brawl. And then the wild brawl almost stops because Momo Watanabe and Sai Kamatani decide to beat the crap out of each other. Like 30 seconds in this match. Like, oh, okay, we're not getting along. Then it settles down, or you think, because then Azumi and Sai Kamatani get in the ring, and Korakuen Hall is like, yeah, we saw this twice this year. And it's 2 of the best matches you'll see in all of wrestling this year. And they do their spot. They kind of play the hits, but rightfully so. It's like Azumi is back. Azumi hits the signature opening match Azumi stuff, and there's a reason why it's so damn good, because Azumi's so damn good. and she gets such a great reaction. It's just like, yeah, I'm back. Look out, I'm back. And she did it on the world champion. Again,
Mm.
Saya and Azumi, just their chemistry that they've had, especially again the Korakuen Hall championship match they had about a month ago. Really great stuff. Excellent stuff with Kyoto Katatsu and Azusa Inaba. I thought the kicks and everything there were really good. Tomoka and Rina, excellent stuff there. Fuki and Death, she comes in and she's basically a little bit different in this match because she's the comedy stuff. But ultimately, what this boy, you a lot of great tag team stuff. Ultimately, what it breaks down to is just everybody beating up Starlight Kid so Konami can put away one Starlight Kid. Again, there was great stuff. You're absolutely right. Azumi, great stuff with Saya Kamatani. Azumi, great stuff. Momo Watanabe. Two of my favorite matches this year are Azumi versus Saya and Azumi versus Momo at the finals of the 5-star Grand Prix. Tomoka Inaba was great. I want to see Tomoka versus Momo Watanabe. Another big singles match. Kyoto Katatsu, new gear, looked like $1,000,000 and wrestled really terrific. Everybody hit their points in this match. Single stuff, tag stuff. We built to Azumi's back. We built to Saya versus Momo. Ultimately, it was all about Konami pinning Starlight Kid, putting the doubt in people's head that Starlight Kid's going to walk out Monday as Wonder of Stardom champion, because Konami has defeated Starlight Kid 3 times in about the last 4 or 5 months, in the middle of the ring and twice in the middle of Korakuen Hall. Again, I don't know how they do this. This is just absolute the beats where everybody needs to be, the timing, the psychology. We get more than one storytelling in. Everybody gets great things in. Everybody looks really good. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's basically the trio of Fuki and Death, Rina, and Konami, who are the Artist of Stardom champions that put down Starlight Kid. And I like it how they use the Wonder of Stardom championship. Konami
Mm.
hit Starlight Kid with the belt. And again, there's enough members of Hate in this match to distract the referee. You didn't need to overthink it. Just have somebody like, hey, ref, check out this person illegally chewing gum in the third row. Some dumb stuff like that. And then ultimately they hit that Hate Bulldog onto Starlight Kid, onto the belt. And again, I like the symbolization of the white belt because that's what this is for. And then Konami hits the buzzsaw kick on the Starlight Kid. My second favorite match of the show. This was incredible. 4.25 stars. They just seem to know how to do these multi-person matches. And I don't get it. I don't get it. It's amazing. Again, 4.25 stars. This whole show, considering the fact it was like your 2 championship matches, and then like we're just gonna throw things at the wall. And every match was great. Every match was great.
Following this, then Saya and Momo, as we mentioned earlier, voiced their displeasure at the opportunities afforded to them in the build to their match at Crimson Nightmare. Therefore, they demanded an all-hate main event at the upcoming Chiba show on November 1st. President Taro Okada, who looked very jet lagged from his position in Korakuen Hall, he did agree and set the main event for the show with Siren Momo featuring on opposing teams. So that should be really interesting for that Tiba show, I believe at the TKP Garden. TKP Garden City in Chiba. I believe it's going to be live streamed on Stardom World as well. What we also got announced during this was Stardom announcing that they will have 2 shows on the 3rd of January, both called New Year Dream. They'll be doing an afternoon and an evening show at Shinjuku Face in Tokyo, just to add to an already packed schedule over that week. On top of that, they also announced that Supreme Fight 2026 will once again emanate from Korakuen Hall. If you remember earlier this year, it was Saya Kamatani versus Suzu Suzuki at Korakuen. But this time it will be on January the 31st. And also the 15th anniversary award show will take place at Takadano Baba, as it usually does, on January 24th and 25th. So an absolutely packed January for Stardom. And again, Matt, when you consider that Stardom have got 2 shows on the 3rd of January, and then you've got Marigold's big first Dream pay-per-view on the 3rd of January, TJPW's show on the 4th of January, and then Wrestle Kingdom on the 4th of January as well. And that's just 2 of those days. That is a fairly busy schedule, is it not?
Yeah, and again, more than likely we don't know how we're gonna schedule the 3rd. We may do a show in the day and then do the Marigold show at night. Again, we get to figure things out. Obviously, for the 4th, it's Tokyo Joshi Pro, and then from what we understand, it's walking distance is the Tokyo Dome. That's why Tokyo Joshi Pro always draws really well on that 1/4 show, because you can watch Tokyo Joshi Pro. You're going to be in the area anyway. may as well watch some really great Joshi and then go over to the Tokyo Dome. Again, buddy, I don't want to tell you how to live your life, but please no soccer/football until after this trip, because I can only carry you so many times. It'll be like those old Vern Gagne camps. You always hear like Ricky Steamboat carrying the Iron Sheik up all those flights of stairs. That's I'm gonna be. I might be in Vern Gagne AWA camp if Rob gets injured playing or walking down the stairs. That's happened
Mate, I
before.
was
So
just
you
going to say,
watch
it doesn't
out.
need to be sport, lifting toilet seats.
Oh
I'm
man.
going to have to get Kirsty to do it all for me, leading to Japan.
Oh man. Well, I am in catch camp this weekend, so I might have to up the squats. So this way I'm all set.
Absolutely. I want you lifting no less than 15 stone. Okay. That is all you can be lifting for the rest of your workouts up till Japan. They would really, I know that obviously we mentioned the fact that Dream Queendom is selling really, really well. I do think it's very funny, the possibility that we go to Japan and miss out on tickets to that because it's selling so well.
No, we'll do okay. We'll figure it out, buddy.
We'll do it. We'll do it. We'll find a way.
Positivity, buddy.
Moving on, then we had God's Eye in EXV versus Cosmic Angels and Mavida Loca. Just again on this whole faction shuffle that we had going on. An interesting dynamic between Mavida Loca and Cosmic Angels, which Bozilla was not a fan of, where she proceeded to body slam every single member of her own team, including Suzu Suzuki, onto, I believe it was Hanako. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head who took all of the moves, but it made me laugh anyway. Saki Kashima, again, continues to be hilarious. And also, Saori fearing Bozilla. Yes, let's have more people fearing Bozilla. Let's continue to build her as a monster. And you know what? Just pointing out there, I wouldn't hate a Saori versus Bozilla IWGP Women's Championship match.
You know what? We got Queendom. We got Tokyo Dome. Supposedly Sherry wants to wrestle on we saw Bozilla in a big arena show in England.
Oh, imagine her entrance at the Tokyo Dome.
Bozilla and Shuri at the Tokyo Dome. And then we have the two shows on 1/3, and then we have the show at the end of the month. I mean, anywhere there, any one of them will work. But I think Bozilla and Shuri at the Tokyo Dome, I think that's massive.
Be tasty, wouldn't it?
I think that's massive. It's Ami Sourei that got everybody slammed.
It was Ami Sourei. Thank you.
Now, this match, 3.25 stars. It was fun. You didn't get as much Shuri in there as you'd want or Natsupoi. You had a little over 8 minutes. The best part for this match was the return of Suzu, right? And Suzu and Bozilla are dominant. And Ami Souri's on the ground. They do the Mila Vita Boca pose. And then Natsupoi is just like, let's take advantage of the situation, girls. And they come in and they do the Cosmic Angel pose. And Bozilla is just like, absolutely not. And then she grabs Aya, slams Aya onto Ami. And then Natsupoi's trying to get out of the ring. Like, she forgets how feet work and how her feet work. And then as she's just about ready to get out, it's like a horror scene, which we're a day away from Halloween as we record. Just grabs Natsupoi, slams her down. Sakura doesn't know where to go. Sakura gets it. And Suzu Suzuki's like, yeah, Bozilla, you get them. You show those pretty girls what's up. And then boom, and then you get one as well. Again, fun enough match. Ultimately, that spot was very memorable. I'm never going to forget that. I just thought that was funny, where Bozilla's just like, how dare you, Natsupoi, take away from what we're doing over here? Like, Natsupoi just like, oh, that's a good idea. Let's get ourselves over, girls. Nope. This is just the vehicle for Bozilla and Saki Kashima. That's what it was. And I don't know which way it's going to end. That's like the hardest match for me to predict. We get into our prediction just a little bit here. Again, 3.25 stars, fun enough stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. However, I will reiterate that I want you carrying me into Korakuen Hall the same way Hanako carried Rian, and I will not accept any other mode of transport. Moving on. Three-way match, Sairida, Lady C, and Akira Gorgone. This was a really, really fun three-way. I thoroughly enjoyed this. And again, I'm always going to enjoy a match when A, Lady C wins, and B, Lady C wins with, again, say it with me, folks, the best big boot in the game.
Rob, we just talked about the last match, how Bozilla did not want any fun. She spoiled the fun in the match. Kira Kagami is in the same faction and watched what Bozilla did, in my opinion, was like, I don't want any fun in this match. So you have Lady C and Saida. They go for the test of strength. And then Saida decides to, hey, let me stomp on Lady C's foot. So this way she doesn't have the height advantage. Everyone's like, ah, ha, ha, that's funny. And Akira's like, nope, no fun in this match. She spoils the fun. But you're right, it was great back and forth. Everybody had shots to our spots to shine. We've seen Lady C and Saida in these matches that they post pictures right afterwards and they just chop each other. They just go at it. And this was the same. There was nothing different here. Now you're throwing in Akira with the forearms and the kicks. Really great intermingling with this with everything they were doing. The fact that it almost went 10 minutes, I thought was the perfect time to tell the story. And you're absolutely right. Lady C getting a big win. She was in the main event of the last Korakuen show, and then getting a win here. Again, I'm all about what they're doing with Lady C. And as you have predicted, Rob, probably your early favorite to win the Goddess of Stardom Tag League with her and Nami Sori. Wouldn't say no to that. 3.5 stars, a really great showing from all three of these wrestlers.
Yeah, the only thing that sort of stops me doing that now is with BMI 2000 at the end of this show, basically saying they'll take on the winners of the tag league, which is what you would expect. I don't see them running Raiwa Tokyo Towers versus BMI 2000 back as quickly as that. In which case, I have another pick, which I'll talk to you about afterwards. But I imagine it's a similar pick to one that you have. Moving on then, this was fantastic. Really enjoyed this. Sari and Miku Kanai versus Saori Anou and Yuna. And yes, of course, the exchanges between Sari and Saori Anou were fantastic, and we're clearly building something there. But there was an aggression in Yuna Mizumori in this, and the stuff between her and Sari was great. That is what I remember from this match. Just the strikes, the way that Yuna just kept coming at Sari, the way Sari just kept putting her down. And what was quite interesting was Yuna got a really impassioned backstage promo. And again, this translation comes courtesy of Mira Wrestling on Twitter, said something along the lines of, "You crushed my throat when I was an idol." Now, I have no idea about this sort of story beat or what happened. So if anyone can fill me in on that, that would be great. Um, but even without that, you could tell there was a deep, burning passion in Uni, even more so than ordinary, than usual when fighting Suri in the ring.
Yeah, I mean, this is my favorite match of these two shows. And considering the fact he had two title matches after this was my favorite match. Obviously, Suri and Soriano, that was like wowzers, because that's a singles match you want to see. But the other two wrestlers that were kind of coming along for the ride were phenomenal. I mean, you could make an argument that Yuna was the best. Yuna was the best wrestler on this show. I mean, she wrestled the best match on this show. No disrespect to the two championship matches we're going to talk about. Obviously, like the German suplexes exchanges with Suri and Soriano. And again, we don't know which way they're going. Maybe Soriano beats Suri on the way to Dream Queendom, and that is your rocket to get Soriano to Saya Kamatani. That's, I said to you, we talked about it before. How do you make that a big main event match with Soriano versus Saya Kamatani? Maybe have Soriano beat Suri in like a number one contenders match. That's a way to go about it. But yeah, I don't know. There's obviously something there with Yuna and Suri. With the whole throat crushing thing. Like, we don't have any context there. So, like, really interesting. Again, Soriano and Yuna Mizumori. Remember back when like Tam was injured and Natsupoi was injured, and before Sayaka Kurora and Aya Sakura really came into the fold. They were the only two wrestlers wrestling the house shows for Cosmic Angels, and Yuna and Soriano had instant chemistry as a tag team, which again just goes to show you just how great these two wrestlers are as singles and as tag wrestlers, because their stuff, like they're just how they were in sync with everything, was great. Miku Kunai is fantastic. I love watching her on the New Blood shows. I love watching her on the Sendai Girl show when we reviewed them from Talk Joshi. She was terrific here. And the fact that we may be getting Sari versus Miku Kanai in this tag league partner, I am all for. Again, there was this excellent stuff. Again, even Soriano, as we mentioned with Kikyo Furusawa, giving her a lot of offense. Soriano giving Miku Kanai a lot of offense, really making her look like she can hang one of the best wrestlers in this company. And then you get a mini match with Yuna and Sari, where Yuna's just like, I know I'm going to get destroyed towards the tail end of this match, but I'm going to make sure that it's absolutely worth it. Like, just the lariats, the near clotheslines, the sit out DVD that she did. Ultimately, is Sari basically slowing down Yuna, because Yuna almost rolls her up. She almost beat her with a big clothesline, almost beats her with the sit out DVD. Like, Yuna almost has Sari's number a few times towards the end of this match, but Sari just dumping Yuna on the top of her head with that capture Uranagi. 4.25 stars. Again, buddy, my favorite match of these two shows that we're talking about.
Yeah, fantastic match. And obviously, following this, Miku Kanai did officially offer the hand to Suri to be her partner on the Goddess of Stardom Tag League. Again, I feel like we can almost say that's an official team. There's no match graphic, just putting that out there, Matt.
Not
But
official.
you don't mention it if it's not going to happen. So it looks like we're going to get Suri and Miku Kanai in this tournament. And unfortunately, Miku Kanai taking a lot of the pinfalls because
Oh
they are
yeah.
not having Suri take a pinfall in this tag league. I mean, she doesn't lose in Stardom very often anyway, but she isn't losing on a random tag team match in Kyoto to Sakura Demon.
How dare
Moving
you? How
well.
dare you, sir? Waka's gonna pin Suri.
Speaking of Waka, high speed championship match then. Mace defeating Waka Tsukiyama. Now, before I talk about this, they did make an announcement in Japanese before this match. Okay, both women were in the ring. I assume that that had something to do with the fact that we're just now foregoing the new rule set, which is
One
I
or
will,
the other. One or the other. Just stay,
mate.
keep it
Honest,
consistent.
bro. If you don't like the new rules, just get rid of them. But don't have the rule set for 2 matches, then 1 fall, then the new rules again, then a what? I mean, we went through a phase, I think it was 144 days, where we didn't have a high speed championship match, having just introduced that new rule set. And then we're now just picking and choosing when these rules actually matter. Like, that makes no sense. That how are you supposed to establish a rule set? And again, I know the rule set is extremely divisive. I know, for example, Sky Wrestling doesn't like the rule set, which is fair enough. I like the fact that it sets it apart from the other championships on the card. I don't know if I'm a fan of the 2 out of 3 falls stipulation. I don't think 10 minutes is enough time for a decent 2 out of 3 falls match. However, I feel like, as I mentioned, having different rules makes it stand out as opposed to just another singles title on the card. But you've got to be consistent. You have to make sure that it is for every single match because they've already said that Yuna Mizumori has said, because they went to a time limit draw, that she wants a 1 full match back to the old time limit of 15 minutes. Well, it's like if anyone can request that, like, again, I don't know if Waka requested this before the match, which means that, well, what's the point in having the rules in the first place? If someone can just go, nah, I don't fancy wrestling those rules this time. I'm just gonna do the 1 full 15 minutes because then I can surprise you with one and then I've won the title. Because that does make more sense if you're a challenger. Why risk being pinned twice when you can have 1 full and win the match?
Yeah.
I don't know. It made no sense. Now, I actually knew the result of this match going in, so I didn't watch it live. I imagine it was hella confusing for anyone watching it live, as May pins Waka, and then you're like, oh. Now, my only thing that I can think of is that the time limit, according to the new rule set, is 10 minutes. And because this went over 10 minutes, it became sudden death. But there was no announcement when we hit 10 minutes, apart from the fact that it was 10 minutes. So I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't like it. If you're going to do a new rule set, commit to it. Okay? Just do it. Just do it for every match. I don't care who it is. Just do it and do it well. Okay? Don't half-arse it because that's what it feels like at the moment. And ultimately, you're hamstringing the wrestlers that are in the ring with it. Because again, you can't expect the wrestlers to be proficient in this new rule set if you're only doing it once every 2 or 3 title defenses. And Mace Air is fantastic. Mace Air is one of the best wrestlers in the company. Stop hamstringing it.
Yeah, it was almost like, and I totally agree. When you have 2 out of 3 falls match, 10 minutes. If you're gonna do 2 out of 3 falls, do it 15.
Do it 15, yeah.
But if you
Either
think
do a
about
10-minute 1 fall or do 15-minute 2 out of 3 falls.
and then do something where it's like we're gonna have judges at the end. 3,
Yeah.
I would do 2 judges, and if both judges say it's a draw, then we're gonna go to a 2-minute overtime and bring back maybe some people from Stardom's past that were high speed champions. You know what I mean? Or whoever. Have a fan. Be like, hey, if you You're an
Have a competition.
no, and you can just do it like going in, be like, okay, the person sitting in row 5, seat or row A, seat 5, they're going to be, and like whoever is sitting, you get to judge and let them know beforehand. Hey, you smarten them up. This is what's going to happen. You make it fan friendly. Like, I'm completely out there, but I agree, Rob. What are we? One or the other. Like, oh, when the rules were first announced, like, oh, it's something cool. Like you said, yeah, it set itself apart. The Saki Kasha match really didn't hit. The Fukin Death match was pretty good, but really didn't hit. The Yuna 10-minute was great, but then we're like, and then we saw where she was going. Like, I want this as a rematch. You didn't beat me, and May Sarah's a fighting champion. She's a baby face and one of the most over factions in Stardom. So it makes sense for May to be like, you know what, I am going to give your rematch and the old 15-minute time limit. So now it's like, okay, now we're not handcuffing. We have one fall with 5 extra minutes. And then it never happened. And then we went to Waka. We're like, okay, Waka makes sense because of the way her story played out in the 5-star Grand Prix, and then Waka pinning May in like 20 seconds at the last Korakuen show. But then we're getting Hazuki. And again, I'm never going to say no to Hazuki because more Hazuki is better on everything, like I said before. And now, was the Hazuki match 10 minutes? Is it 50? Do we know that? Do we know if it's under the old rules, what are the old rules? What are the new, are the old rules the 10-minute time limit now? Is that like,
who's even the champion anymore? I don't understand that.
What's going on? All right, this match though was phenomenal. This match
was great. Yeah,
it's nice seeing Waka get this spot. One thing I noticed, Waka's always been in really, really good shape. Don't get me wrong. She walked through that curtain. And I thought it was great how Hanako and Rian were like, yeah, we got your back. They were behind her. Waka was shredded. She was absolutely shredded in the best shape of her career. And again, she's always been in great shape. This is what Stardom has been doing the last 5 or 6 months. Let's give an opportunity to somebody a year, 2 years ago that never had it. And let's see what we can do. We talked about Waka in the 5-star Grand Prix losing all these matches. Like, let's see how it plays out. Like, she's losing all these matches quick, but you remember that. And then she starts winning matches quick. And then she beats May Sarah. And then you're putting her in the semi-main event in front of 1,200 people in Korakuen Hall. And her and May have a great match. And it was built up really good over the last 3 or 4 weeks. They teased the shooting star roll up. They teased the Waka slide, as I call it, the double underwing pinfall. What's it called? The Oshi suplex or something?
The Osui suplex.
Asoi suplex. Yes, I'm gonna call it the Mayor Fuji slide because that's the first time I've seen it. They teased that right in the beginning because those are the moves that we've seen them both fall victim to. And then you get the great wrestling, more high speed stuff, and then you get the great striking. May with the big drop kick, Waka firing back, May using the shooting star meteor, the dragon sleeper, her version of the dragon sleeper, which I thought was great. Waka gets the ropes. Waka comes back with a full Nelson slam. Waka really starts beating on May. May starts using the high speed style offense where it's like boom, boom, boom. Waka doesn't know where she's at. And then all of a sudden, Waka catches May with an inside cradle coming off the ropes, which is something you don't see. It's almost like May went too fast for her own good and almost got caught. And people in Korakuen Hall bit on that in the finish because of the way that May was building up her speed and the way that Waka cinched in the inside cradle and the way that May sold it for that 2.99 seconds. Like, I can't get out of this. I can't get out of this. And she barely gets out of it. What a great policy for what they were going for. I absolutely loved. Eventually, though, it is Waka. Or then eventually May hits the shooting star roll up that she tried earlier, but then Waka stacks it and gets a 2.9 count, which again, they bid on that falsy. Those are the two big falsies that people bid on. People really thought that Waka was going to walk out of this championship as the high-speed championship, at least for a second or two or a split second or two, because of the believability that these two put in. When you can blur that line, even for a half a second, that's what makes professional wrestling an absolute art form. Ultimately, though, it is May Sarah with the super kick and the checkmate, hitting it and getting the win for the 3 count. 3 3/4 stars, a really terrific match. Again, we were so confused with the rules. That's not on the wrestlers. Eventually we'll probably figure it out. It's just great. But regardless, great wrestling. This is terrific. And again, I love the fact that we gave Waka a spotlight here, very much like we've been doing on the New Blood shows. Waka just feels, ever since the end of the 5 stars, very important because we've got 3 New Blood shows, which she's all been in big matches for. And again, on those New Blood shows, they put in that little thing where she's walking around whatever town they're in, and I don't know what she's doing or what she's saying, but she seems like the nicest person in the world. You're getting her over more, and then you're giving her this spotlight with May Sarah. Very much you are on the New Blood show. Waka feels, she doesn't feel special like a Sai Kamatani or a Saori Anou or a Natsupoi. She just feels like there's a bigger and better and brighter light on her, and she's really taking advantage of that situation, which we can only be applauded for. Because then again, Waka's not everybody's favorite wrestler, but I don't think there's anybody that's like, I hate Waka. Oh, I just want Momo Watanabe to take the baseball bat to her and kick the crap out of her. No, everybody loves Waka. She's lovable, and we gave her a great spotlight here. Again, 3 3/4 stars. Really great stuff.
Waka Tsukiyama is your favorite wrestler's favorite wrestler. Let's put it out there right now.
She's Terry Funk's favorite wrestler.
She
Abdul the
is
Butcher's favorite
Terry
wrestler.
Funk's favorite wrestler. There you go. You heard it here first. It's definitely her best outing, without a shadow of a doubt. And it was great to give her that spotlight because, again, not everyone can be pushed to the red belt. Not everyone can be pushed to win the 5-star Grand Prix. Not everyone can win the Cinderella tournament. So it's great to spotlight these wrestlers and just remind everyone that actually these are really, really good wrestlers. We've just got an absolutely loaded roster. So it's great to see for Waka. And again, she has been the stalwart of that New Blood tag team division and the whole New Blood brand, let's be perfectly honest, since its inception. So yeah, it's great to see. Great to see. We then move on to the best t-shirts in wrestling in BMI 2000 and those fantastic, unironically fantastic tie-dye shirts against Itsuki Aoki and Rina Yamashita. Matt, if there was ever an advert for keeping your eye on the prize, it's this match here because the amount of misdirection from both teams and pointing at things that weren't there and surprising the other with a fist and things like that, there was a lot in this match. Even so, I thought it was really, really good.
Yeah, when it comes to those shirts, buddy, that I'm going to carry you to the merchandise table and buy you one of those shirts. That's what I'm going to do for you,
Kirsty
buddy.
will kill you. Kirsty will kill you, my friend. Do it.
And you're going to get an extra small. Yeah. How? Yeah. Amber
It's gonna be
hates
like
it.
a sports bra.
Like I like wearing, like when it comes to my hoodies and my jackets, I like them a little bit bigger. Like when it comes to my shirts, I'm a little tight. I want to show off these shoulders. I want to show off these biceps. Amber does not like that at all. She's like, that is way too tight. Me and you, we're both gonna get extra small BMI
Hell
2000
yes.
tie-dye
Hell yes.
shirts. Absolutely. This match, we knew what we were gonna get. You knew it was gonna be bowling shoe ugly all over the place. Two hard-hitting teams, really great stuff. And you're right, there's a lot of misdirection. There's a lot of really great stuff with Tora and Rina. This to me was Aoki and Ruaka. Really great stuff. And then Aoki versus Tora. And Aoki's the wrestler that's currently on this Stardom roster. And yeah, I don't know if she's full time or not. We don't know how those contracts are going. She's the one that I don't know that much of. Rina, I've seen a lot of her stuff outside of Stardom. She's done a lot of stuff on the US and the Northeast Indies. So I've seen a lot of Rina. When Itsuki Aoki was announced as part of Suzuki's new group, I'm like, I've heard of her before, but I haven't seen that much of her. This match, I got a lot of her in spades, and I was like, wow, I hope we get her in the tag league. As loaded as the 5-star was, I would have loved to seen her in the 5-star Grand Prix. I was thoroughly impressed with her. This was a great showcase from Stardom to put her in a spotlight in a main event championship match and make, again, the people that don't watch much Joshi out, well, now obviously I do, but haven't seen much of Aoki outside of Stardom. She was terrific. She was the MVP of this match. They built the match around her, and which is the genius thing, because then ultimately what do? They beat her. You build her up to this level, and then it's not only do they beat her, it's the tag team work that needs to get done. It's not like Tora beat her singly or Ruaka beat her singly. And obviously there was some shenanigans, which you know are going to get. It's BMI 2000. It's hate. It's Korakuen Hall. You would almost be upset if you didn't get some bending or breaking of the rules. Again, not in front of the referee, but like these lariat combinations and these lariat offs with Aoki and Tora. I mean, they were just going at it. Really great stuff. Ruaka just, whenever she's given the ball, Ruaka hits an absolute home run. Again, very much like a Waka, someone that kind of flies under the radar because how stacked this roster was. Ruaka was so great in that match where they won the belts against Wingori, so great in that match with Ami and Lady C, and she was terrific here. But again, for me, it was Aoki and Tora closing the match there. Excellent stuff with eventually Tora putting away Aoki. And it took a hell of a lot. I mean, they had to really hit bomb after bomb after bomb to put her down. Tora getting the swanton for the 3 count. 4.25 stars. The tag division in Stardom is just absolutely on another level. And considering the fact that we've never seen these two teams really interact before, that they had instant chemistry, really great stuff. And again, I'm really hoping that the the Mila Vita Loca team, one of the teams is Rina and Aoki. I want to see more of them in actual tag matches, not 6 persons, not 8 persons, in actual tag matches, because they were great. Can you imagine these two against a Shuri and a Tomoka, or a Tomoka and a Rana, or a Lady C and an Ami Sori, an Aya and Sayaka? There's so many great matchups. Or a Yuna and Debbie Keto, Pineapple Coffee. There's so many great matches we can see with Rina and and Aoki. And considering the fact that, again, we've seen so many Sorry Poi matches, and I'll never get tired of them. We've seen so many Wingoy matches, I'll never get tired of them. We haven't seen Rina and Aoki team up that much in straight up tag matches in Stardom. Something new, something fresh, and the fact that you're beginning it every single night in the Goddess of Stardom tournament, Rob, it's something to really look out for. Again, 4.25 stars, a solid match to end just another great Korakuen show.
One thing I did like, and it was the one thing that I had sort of a slight bone to pick with, was when Itsuki Aoki pinned Tora and Tora spat the mist into Aoki's face to break up the pin. The only problem was she did that just as Rina pulled the referee out of the ring. So the camera went to Rina pulling the ref out. So you didn't get.
You missed it.
You missed it. You missed the mist, which obviously you never want to miss the mist.
No, sir. Next Stardom cash shirt.
Absolutely. Never miss the mist. What was the one that? What was it about the hate crate? We had one about the crate as well. I can't remember what it was.
We got a lot. We got to write these down.
We have got to start writing these down. Yeah, and it was such a great spot that I really like. Just like a really unique way of getting out of the pivot. We saw it with Maria and the Great Sequoia. I wish we'd have caught it on camera. That was where you needed the close-up shot of that, and I don't think we needed Rina pulling the referee out at that point. I just think there was just too much going on at that point. But it's a very minor quibble. Now, assuming BMI 2000 are holding these belts through until Dream Queendom, which they probably are, I don't think, much as I think Raiwa Tokyo Towers are one of the favorites to win the tournament, I don't think they're going to run that back so soon after losing them. I mean, they might do. We've seen it run back fairly quickly in terms of titles and Stardom before. What about Saori Poi?
Yep, they're my pick.
Yeah, do you know what did I say? I knew they would be. Now, because if Saori Anou is not the person to challenge Saya at Dream Queendom, you need to feature Natsupoi and Saori Anou. I don't feel like they can just be thrown into a random 8-woman tag on the undercard when they're two of your biggest baby faces. Because again, as we've mentioned repeatedly, Saya Kamatani is on another level. She's on an absolute plane of existence on her own. You need to start building stars to match her, to beat her. And Natsupoi and Saori Anou are obviously two of your biggest baby faces. So, feature them as often as you can. And I think them versus BMI 2000 would be a great match. And I do think Saori Poi should win them at Dream Queendom. To be honest, I think it's a no-brainer, really, if you're going to do that. Maybe have Saori Poi versus the Raiwa Tokyo Towers in the final. I wouldn't be opposed to that. But yeah, I think the more I'm thinking about it, had they not run Raiwa Tokyo Towers versus BMI 2000 at the last Korakuen, I'd have been like, oh yeah, Raiwa Tokyo Towers, start the ascent of Lady C, # Lady C for the world title, but I don't think they're going to run it back that soon.
Yeah, and that's you made a lot of good points, partner. And again, we know Saya Kamatani is the biggest star in the company. I think we both agree Starlight Kid is number 2. And then you can make an easy argument that Saori Anou and Natsupoi as 3 and 4, and maybe just as a whole, Saori Poi as 3. Again, look, whenever they put them in main events, they sell tickets. Again, they 2,700, whatever they did in Ode Award on their own self-produce show. So the way you can look at it from a business aspect is you do Saya Kamatani and Saori Anou as your main event. Again, if that's the way they go at Queendom, and then you do Natsupoi and Starlight Kid. If you remember, Natsupoi beat Starlight Kid in the 5-star, and you run that match back from last year where Starlight Kid beat Natsupoi to win the Wonder Belt, because they kind of teased it after Grand Queendom, like they were going to go back to Starlight Kid and Natsupoi, never did anything again. And again, that's one of the best Wonder Stardom Championship matches in company history. Literally, the point, as great as Tam and Saya was at last year Queendom, I actually like Poi and Starlight Kid better. which is just showing how great. So you can do that, run that back, and then you have your big red belt champion, your white belt champion, arguably, 3 and 4 as your singles matches, or you do Saori Anou and Natsupoi winning the Goddess of Stardom championships at this show. And what a great draw would it be against your biggest and baddest heel tag team. And you kind of did that last year with Hate XL, Momo, and Tekla versus Wingori. And they did a great job building up Wingori all throughout the year and especially in that tournament. So you're basically copying a get a name. Like, okay, who are big heel tag team champions? Not that are great wrestlers, BMI 2000. Who are baby faces that are terrific? Sorry Poi. So I agree. I if you don't have Saya and or Natsupoi and the red or white belt match in Ryogoku Kakakigan, I think you have them win the Goddess tournament and win the Goddess belts. The only other thing that I can think of that you do with Soripoi, and again, this is just fantasy booking, is if they work either Red Energy or Bob Bob Mama Banana again, or the Magical Sugar Rabbits. Just because.
Absolutely. Just bring him in. Why not? Bring him in. Holy Demon Army. Let's just do it.
Oh my goodness, folks. Oh my goodness. But yeah, again, who knows? Literally after we hit the record button, we go to bed, we'll wake up tomorrow and be like, Saori Anou is teaming with Yuna Mizumori and Natsupoi is teaming with Izuki Aoki.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll happen. It'll happen. Just sort of an outline for what I would do for Dream Queendom if it was me. Sai versus Micah, world title. Starlight Kid versus Hazuki for the white belt.
Yes.
If not Hazuki,
then Hazuki.
Then run Starlight Kid versus Hazuki. Do a three. No. If not Hazuki, run Starlight Kid versus Rena again. Bozilla versus Saori, potentially for the IWGP Women's. BMI 2000 versus Saori Poi. And if they run Starlight Kid versus Suzuki, why not do Rena, Konami, and Fukigen Death versus the remaining 3 members of Cosmic Angels for the artist belts?
Ooh, Yuna, Aya, and Sayaka. They get the big win there. I like that because I love Rena and Starlight Kid earlier this year at the Path of Thunder. Dun, dun, dun. Rock and Roll was great. And Rena is so much better now than she was a few months ago, which is crazy to say.
Wild, yeah.
But again, your big 2 championship matches, you need to have 4 massive stars. I don't think Rena is in that. Very much is in that. It will be the match deliver, sure. Is Rena a ticket drawer? Yes. Is she a big ticket drawer for like these big shows? Not right now. Can she be in 6 to 12 months? Sure. But I do like that if you open up with, I think what you do is you open up with 2 championship matches. Again, you do BMI 2000 versus Saori Poi, very much again last year, Wingori versus 8XL. And then you do Yuna, Sayaka, and Aya versus Konami, Fukigen Death, and Rena. I think that'd be a great 1-2 punch, pun intended, to start the show, buddy.
I'd start off with the artist belt match because I think that would be absolutely fantastic. Plus, Fukigen Death opening the show, that's what you want.
That's what the
every
people
time.
want.
It's what give me what I want, in the words of Dave Bautista.
Not only that, but it's 4 days after Christmas. So give me my late or early Christmas. It's either 4 days after Christmas or 361 days before Christmas.
Exactly. Depending on your outlook on life. Let's have a look then at Crimson Nightmare. And this is going to be the briefest of brief reviews because, let's face it, there's 4 matches on the card.
We've been talking about them. We've been talking them in one way or another in the last 2.5 hours anyway.
And unless there's going to be 4 half-hour time limit draws, I think that somehow we're going to get more matches announced. But currently, the card sits at a World of Stardom and New Japan Strong Women's Championship double title match. Saya Kamatani, the champion, versus Momo Watanabe. Wonder of Stardom Championship match. Starlight Kid versus Konami. You've got a high-speed title match. Mei Seira, the champion, versus Hazuki. That'll be her 9th title defense. And then, of course, you have got Saki Kashima versus Bozilla, which should absolutely be the main event. Matt, couple of thoughts then about this guy. I personally don't see those 2 titles changing hands. In fact, I would go as far as to say I am 99.9% sure that neither of these titles are switching hands. Saya Kamatani is not dropping these belts. I'm hard pressed to think that she's going to drop them at Dream Queendom. Never mind here. Starlight Kid, I think there's far too much left in her reign to drop it, and I don't think Konami is the person to dethrone Starlight Kid. Would I be surprised? No, I don't think anything would surprise me, but I don't think it's Starlight Kid's time. So I think those two matches, if anything, are results wise, are quite easy to predict. However, something is going to happen in this Saya and Momo match. There is going to be a story beat, and I don't know what it is.
Other than great wrestling. Yes, go ahead. I'm sorry, sir. Other than great
Yes,
wrestling.
absolutely, yes. Undoubtedly great wrestling. There is going to be some sort of story beat. Now, eventually you are going to turn one of these two women babyface. And while you are raking money in with Saya as a heel, you don't turn Saya face. Saying that, we also said that when Saya was turned heel, so maybe don't listen to us. But I feel like the weight of momentum is on a Momo Watanabe face turn, especially with the 5-star Grand Prix win. How you do that, and whether it fully happens at this show, whether this is the first spark of that baby face turn, whether nothing happens and everything is fine after this show. Maybe, as you mentioned, they team in the tag league together, and then again, even more cracks begin to show. Maybe 8,933 errant back shots is just one shot too many, and finally Hate just kick Momo out and say, my God, just learn how to hit someone with this damn bat, Momo. It's interesting. I don't think there is a single person in the world that cares about the New Japan Strong Women's title. I don't think that's going to play. In fact, it wouldn't surprise me if that isn't absorbed into the IWGP Women's Championship sooner rather than later, because even the brand doesn't even exist anymore. So again, it's a pointless title. I think Saya retains. I think we get those first subtle changes, but the only thing I don't know how or what those subtle changes are.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting because I think Sai is going to retain. There is a possibility, Rob, that they run this back at. I mean, we booked every match for Sumo Hall. What if they run this back at Sumo Hall, but it's
They could do.
But what if it's Momo's the champion? What if it's Saya?
Oh,
What if it's Momo's been a part of this Oedo Tai hate thing since the get-go, and Saya kind of came in, and now Saya's taken the spotlight. What if it's just like Toru is supposed to be the leader, but everybody says it's Saya because Saya is the leader of all of Joshi wrestling, let alone hate. So what if it's like they take Toru's like, wait a minute, I'm supposed to be the leader. Everybody's giving all this love to Saya. Let's put the boots to her, and all the members of hate turn on Saya, and Momo wins the belt back. And then Saya still is the Phoenix Queen. Then they run it back, and Saya gets the belt back at Ryogoku. That's one way to go about it. But at the same time, I know I just said that, and then I'm going to kind of take away what I just said. There's something to Momo stopping Azusa and Ruaka from beating up Azumi in the 5-star finals.
And not using the bat against Mayu at Historic Crossover too. Let's not forget that.
Last year too, you're absolutely right. There's something there, and everybody wants to cheer Momo. I mean, they cheer Sai as well, but we pretty much said, like, we knew when we were at WrestleMania last year when we saw Starlight Kid at the Monster Factory, like, she's one angle away of becoming a massive face, and that angle happened a month later, and a year later, here we are. She's probably the biggest face in the company. Momo's in that same spot Starlight Kid was a year ago. They're just waiting for the time it's there. It's clearly there. You just have to wait for the time to be right. Is the time right on Monday? Is the time right during the Goddess tournament? I don't know. I'm interested to see how it goes down. There's a lot of different ways they can go about it. The match is going to be great. It really, really is. I say Saya wins, but there is that slim possibility that everybody thinks that's going to be Momo kicked out. What if it's Saya that's kicked out? Because she's the biggest star. I don't know. I know this match is going to be great. The one thing I don't want is too much. We know you're going to get shenanigans.
I was just going to say, we're going to get a lot of shenanigans.
I want the shenanigans to make sense, like we did with Saya and Tam and Korakuen Hall in March. Like, there are a lot of people like, oh my God, Matt, that was so much interference. I'm like, well, did you watch the match? Did you see how it played out? The shenanigans made sense. I just want the shenanigans to make sense. And my guess is you have Momo Watanabe, one of the best wrestlers in wrestling the last 5 or 6 years. Sai Kamatani, in my opinion, the best wrestler in all of wrestling this year. And Daichi's the referee, which more than likely he will be, in my opinion, the best referee in all of wrestling. The shenanigans will make sense. I'm really looking forward to this one because these two are phenomenal, just phenomenal talent. But it's all about, again, can this be a straight up wrestling match? Sure. And is it going to be great? Sure. But the underlining thing is what possibly can we just laid out a whole bunch of stuff. What possibly can happen? We don't know, good sir.
So if I had to push you, then who's winning?
Well, no wrestling promoter has ever pushed me before, so I appreciate that, buddy. Saya Kamatani is going to win.
Yeah, I don't see Saya dropping the belts. I can see Hate eventually turning on her. I can see that. Not here though, and not before Ryogoku. I mean, there is an argument that Hate are too OP. I mean, you look at the firepower that they have got, and especially when you've got Tora, who is, the de facto leader, and ultimately she's been overshadowed really by the rise of Saya and Momo Watanabe as well. And then, of course, Starlight Kid was more of a leader than Tora was, or was, more of the face of Hate, should I say. And then Tekla was as well, in my opinion, as well. So
Rina Konami as well.
Well, yeah, it's an interesting one. I'll be really intrigued to see how this match finishes. I think Saya win. Well, no, I know that Saya will win. There's no way Saya's losing this match. Clip that. But it'll be how that's really exciting. Kid versus Konami, I feel, is a lot easier to call.
Yeah, that's going to be Starlight Kid win, especially Konami getting the win just in the Korakuen Hall show. Again, their match was so good at the finals of the Cinderella tournament. Konami's on another level. And again, you have to remember, Starlight Kid, we didn't know if she was going to be cleared to wrestle that match. I think she missed the last 3 or 4 shows before going to that Cinderella tournament because her shoulder was all banged up, and still put on a great match with pretty much one shoulder, a bad knee, and then gets her nose busted open while she's in a mask. And then Konami gets the spray paint, which I'm assuming is probably just colored water, but still sucks. And they still had that great of a match. I would not be shocked if Starlight Kid outdoes everybody on this show because she's just on another level. I'm so excited for this match, but yeah, it's going to be a Starlight Kid retain.
Mei Seira versus Suzuki, we've already talked about a little bit. I am inclined to agree with you. I think that we are going the TLD there, which in my head, my fantasy booking, I would have Hazuki challenge Starlight Kid after this match. And I think you can't really do that if she's lost. I don't think there needs to be a winner here. I know that obviously Mei Seira wants to avenge the fact that she couldn't get the win over the line at Supreme Fight back, in 2024. But another time limit draw doesn't really hurt either woman. And obviously the story of the high speed championship is Mei Seira versus Yuna Mizumori. There is unresolved tension between Kid and Hazuki. We know that from Nagoya Golden Fight, 2024. So, that singles match where Hazuki basically beat the piss out of Starlight Kid, nicked her mask like a common schoolyard bully and ran off. And they've sort of slowly reignited that on Twitter. That is why I would do. I'd do a TLD and then Hazuki comes out, challenges Kid after the Kid versus Konami match.
And I'd have Yuna after the TLD. I'd have Yuna challenge May. Maybe do that for the next Korakuen, because again, it needs to happen.
We said that last time, didn't we? Do that at one of the next Korakuens.
It has to happen in Korakuen because that's where Yuna is most over, and that's where the story's been playing out. And then you do the Hazuki thing there. But yeah, I think TLD. The only thing is we don't know if it's 10 minutes, 2 falls, 9 falls.
Oh God knows, yeah.
But you know what? The one thing we do know, it's Suzuki versus Mei Seira. It could be 3 minutes, and it'll be a damn great 3-minute match.
I really hope that they make it like the hardcore title in like 1999, where they're outside the building and all sorts. Falls are taking place against a barbed wire fence outside the venue. It's in the river at one point. That's what we should be doing. Never mind these 9 falls. And then finally, speaking about where this match could go, this is. I'd love this to go full on mental DDT carnage. Obviously, we did mention that after Bozilla was chastised by Saki from behind Syuri, which was quite entertaining. She did chase her backstage, so there's obviously a little bit there. I would love this if the start of the match is a continuation of that chase, and Bozilla is still chasing Saki Kashima down the ramp to the ring. That should be how this match starts. In terms of who wins, good God. I mean, we outlined some wacky ideas for what we should be doing in this match on the last podcast.
It just came to me. We've been talking about the finish of this match for 2 weeks, Rob. It just came to me. And once I say it, you're going to be like, how do we not think about that? Saki Kashima via count out.
Of course it's going to be that. Of course.
How did we not? We literally came up with Bozilla's going to squash Saki, or Saki's going to get the Kishi Kasai, but it makes sense for Saki to beat Bozilla because nobody sees it coming. But Bozilla, should she really be eating losses to Saki Kashima? Literally just came to me a minute ago. Saki's going to win via count out.
My only issue with that stands as Bozilla another singles loss. Doesn't matter. It's like, doesn't matter. It's the visual. You know, Bozilla, she's lost to Izumi. She's lost to. All these losses do add up, and especially as Mavida Loca lose loads because Akira Kuragane keeps getting pinned. And I love Akira, but stop getting pinned, Akira. I
don't think that's your choice, buddy. That's awesome.
Bozilla's just standing there on the apron going, "Come on." I think Bozilla needs to win this. I think we could get a couple of really entertaining near falls with the count outs. You know, have Saki handcuff her to the railing, or something like that, and just have Bozilla. You know, in Tori Yano did it to someone in Kenny the G1. He brought the barricade into the ring with him to beat the count.
He did it a few times. He did it with Zack Sabre. I think he did it with Naito.
Zack Sabre.
I think he did it with Naito as well. Yeah. I think he did it a couple times.
Just do something like that. And then have Bozilla absolutely flatten her. Because again, we've just talked about, what about Bozilla and Syuri at the Tokyo Dome as an idea for the IWGP Women's Championship? Is she really going to be in contention for that if she's just lost to Saki Kashima, who isn't even really full time with Stardom? Let's be honest.
Count outs rule, man. Count outs rule.
So you are going Saki Kashima then?
Via count out. Yep.
Wow. Do you know what? No, I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm going Bozilla. She has to win this. Otherwise, I don't understand where her credibility is going to go, because everyone knows, well, she keeps losing in the singles matches.
But then she gets it back at like a Korakuen or something like that.
We'll see.
We'll see.
It's
Bozilla. She's so damn talented that
that's true.
Make it happen. She's so good. And again, if we're building to an IWGP Championship match, whether it's a month, 2 months, 3 months, how long is it going to take Bozilla to gaslight that fire? Shuri, the biggest ass kicker maybe in the history of this company, just showed fear probably for the first time since she's been in Stardom, just by looking at Bozilla. So it's not going to take much to heat that up.
And finally, Matt Turner, it's time, my friend, for Io and Kairi watch.
Yes, absolutely. Io and Kairi watch. Obviously, if you want the most Io watch, go over and watch the match she had with Mayu Iwatani from Marigold Grand Destiny. So obviously, really not too much here on the docket. Io does show up in a Newcastle jersey. No, I'm just kidding. I take that. Basically, there's a backstage segment with Kairi and Asuka saying they want to regain the women's, the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship. So it does look like Kairi's going more with Asuka's plan. Before she was a little reluctant. Now she seems like she's going with Asuka's plan. We had a really great match with Lila Valkyria and Bayley challenging Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss for the Tag Team Championships. Obviously, Charlotte and Alexa will retain. And then this was really interesting, Rob. Kabuki Warriors, Kairi and Asuka, they come in and they lay waste to everybody in the ring, except when Bayley gets up and it's her turn to get her ass kicked, they look at her and they wave it off. Remember, Bayley was part of Damage Control with Asuka, Io, and Kairi. So it's very interesting. I mean, they beat the crap out of Charlotte, Lila, and Alexa. But once it looked like Bayley was going to get it, they kind of just looked at her and were just like, we're going to let it go. So now we're adding more layers onto this story with Kairi, with Io, with Asuka, with Rhea Ripley. Now we're adding Bailey. Not only Bailey, but like Bailey, split personality Bailey into the mix. I'm really enjoying what is happening. But that's all for Io and Kairi Watch.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, that does bring us to the end of this week's episode. We hope you have enjoyed it. Just under 3 hours. Would be considerably longer if we got a full card for Crimson Nightmare, but you know what's going to happen. It will come to light as soon as we finish recording. But there we are. Thank you so much for listening. We really do appreciate it. If you haven't already, subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Castbox, Pocket Casts. We are literally everywhere. Leave us a 5-star review and a comment if you think we have earned it. It's a free way to help the podcast out and helps us to be exposed to even more people out there as well. Patreon.com/the Stardom Cast for all of these episodes early and ad-free for as little as $1 a month, as well as the literal thousands of hours of bonus episodes that Matt puts out there, as well as all your previews, show reviews, and all of that good stuff as well. Patreon.com/the Stardom Cast. You can find us on social media at the Stardom Cast, unless, of course, it is Instagram, Threads, or Blue Sky, where it is Talk Joshi. You can talk to me on Twitter at Real Rob Goodwin, Mr. Matt Turner. If you please, good sir, sign us off.
Folks, questions, comments, suggestions, anything you need from me, Matt Turner OF on the Instagram and the Twitter is the easiest, fastest, and best way to get a hold of me. Or you can shoot me an email. The email address is thestardomcast22@gmail.com. Folks, that's going to wrap it up for another fantastic episode of the Stardom Cast. We greatly appreciate your support. Can't do without you. Like I always say, it's just not my podcast. It's our podcast. Because we're all together, everybody's different, everybody's special.